All right, Chris, welcome to the Real Journey podcast,
Yes.
brother.
This trailer is badass, man.
Oh, thank you so
Lord.
much. Does it look better in person than it did like videos and stuff?
Oh, dude, you need to do a video on the trailer. And
Okay.
before you leave, I'm gonna do a walk around. I'm gonna post it to my stuff.
Hell yeah.
This thing is badass. I mean, this is cool. I mean, this is finished better than some of our houses.
No, that's what I wanted. You know, the whole goal was I want to make it so it's high quality, so audio being the first thing. And then I was like, I can go to people and do podcasts, but then the lighting's going to be different. It's going to be different every time. So I'm like, I'm going to do a trailer. I don't know how I came up with it, but I was like, I'm going to do a trailer.
I remember when that discussion started, we were talking about it. It's like, I think it's a badass idea.
Yeah.
And then, but I was like, oh no, make it to where you can use a door. But this was a better play.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, so the door still opens on the backside, and so I could put some stuff back there. I probably should have scooted this another foot, and then I could have put my spare tire, and I could have put all those jacks. It's just a little bit too thin. I can get some stuff, but not everything.
That would have been a good idea, because you could have just taken and bolted like spare tire mounts to the door and just let them go up with the door.
Exactly.
Or do it at the bottom where the essentially you don't have all that shit on top of the lever. Put it at the bottom of the lever, at the bottom, near the fulcrum.
Yep.
That would have been cool as hell.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I think it turned out good. The air conditioning. I mean,
yeah, the air conditioner is cool. Whoever did your finish work.
That would be yours truly.
Oh, no kidding?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I took it in. So I actually had a meeting with a guy, and he or not a guy, a group of guys, and we had like a mastermind. And I was talking to one of the most successful guys and telling him about the trailer, and he goes, Matt, take your trailer to somebody and have them do it. He goes, you're not going to be able, and because I wasn't getting it done, like it was at like a month that I didn't do anything. And he goes, take it to somebody and have them get the trailer done. You need to pay somebody, like leverage it. And so I took it to, do you know Brad?
Brad who?
Wagner?
No.
So Brad's guys, I took it to them, and in a week they did all of the carpentry. So they did all of this, everything. And so all the carpentry was done in a week. I was like, that would have taken me 6 weeks by myself.
Forever.
And they built this. This is all custom. Man. And so then I took it home, and then I was like, all right, I'll paint it. And then so I primered it, and then I did the skim coat, and then went over with the texture and tried to do like a smooth wall, like. And so this is plywood.
Imperfect smooth.
Imperfect smooth.
Imperfect smooth. That's what they call that out here.
Yeah. There was a lot of sanding involved to get it to look like
yes.
it looked.
Imperfect smooth is almost smooth. It might as well just be smooth.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, this thing looks great in here.
And then the soundboards.
Yeah.
Like if you could have heard it before.
I remember
these,
when you were working on that.
Yeah. It turned out. I mean, I'm
was
happy.
it just an echo chamber in here?
It was.
Did it pick up on the audio a lot? Could you tell?
Not these mics. You could hear it a little bit
if you were listening for it.
It was more. It bugged me if I had the headphones on, and I could hear the echo. So it more bugged me than actually could hear it in the mic.
Yeah.
So it was more like I just wanted a deadened sound.
Because you were listening for it at that point.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I wanted the audio to be like on point. Yeah. So, but what are you up to, man?
Nothing. Trying to get through COVID.
COVID.
Mike and I just went to Dickies. we were up. So last night we went to Fume. Fume opened last night.
Yes.
Actually the art gallery opened yesterday, and Mike had been watching that. We were going to go up there, and then time ran away from us. We were doing some stuff inside, and Mike says, "Oh, Fume's open. Let's go to Fume." I'm like, fine, let me ride the motorcycle home. Come by and get me.
Yep.
So we went up there last night and had a couple drinks and ate ribs and whatnot, and then we jumped in his car and we were run downtown trying to find out somebody else that was open. Went back for round 2 at Fume. Yeah, Fume is going to be the bomb for a while.
Now they kind of did it undercover. Did they like loud and proud, like we're opening up regardless, or how did that come about?
Actually, how Mike found out about Fume being open was when they were interviewing folks at the art gallery being open.
Didn't they ask, is there any other restaurants or places opening that you know of? I thought I saw something.
One of the owners was at the art gallery.
Okay.
And she's like, "Hey, Fume's open." And that's when he saw it, and we pulled up, and the news van was pulling away. They were already there. They'd already been there and interviewed, I think, Terry.
Okay.
And then left, and then we were in Fume, and the thing came on the news, and then they said Dickies is open too, and they got outside seating. So like, we're going to Dickies for lunch tomorrow. So we go to Dickies, get there, outside seating's gone.
Yes.
Can't sit inside. We were driving the old work truck. I'm like, we're going to eat in a parking lot. We're going to put the tailgate down. We're going to eat in a parking lot. So It's fixing to get fun in Napa with Mike and I for lunch because I think we're just going to haul around a fold-up table and fold-up chairs, and we're just going to set up shop in the parking lot and let the health department come by. I don't care. I'm not hearing it from the health department. These folks are trying to make a living, okay?
For sure.
I understand the mania, and my position on it is, I mean, we've been at work every day. We've been in here every day working.
Yep.
And we've been exposed to everyone.
Yep.
And I've not worn a mask once.
Yeah.
If you feel like you need to wear a mask, wear a mask.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me about it. I don't want to hear your position on me wearing a mask or not wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And if you don't like other folks not wearing masks, stay inside. It's really simple.
You know, it's hard to change people's belief systems, right? Like that's your belief. That's your belief. So to me, it's like, let me believe what I believe, and you believe what you believe, and we'll just commingle.
Yeah.
And if you think that we should wear a mask, or why don't you stay home? Yeah. I don't think that we should. And I'll go out and I'll take that risk because that's my belief system, you know? And so, you know, when I first met you,
this ought to be good.
You know, you come across as very like direct and you're very like, you say what you see is what you get. And I think that's a lost, like for me even, like it's hard for me to even say, oh, you shouldn't wear a mask, right? Because what if the repercussions? People may think, well, this guy's an idiot, right? And so I'm more shelter. I'm like the nice guy, people pleaser. But then I saw you, and you're like, this is what I believe. This is when we first met.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side of that, I'm like, you're one of the nicest guys.
I do my best.
We're out. We're right before here. You're on the ground crawling under the trailer. Matt, we should do this to the trailer. Like, man, like. You know. So how did were you always outspoken, like very, I would say like just very confident with yourself?
I wouldn't say I was always really confident with myself. That came about, I spent 20 years in the repossession business in St. Louis.
Okay.
And that's a very different way to make a living.
Yes.
And how you handle folks, I mean, it's just, you're constantly on. And that kind of is how I am now is a product of that environment I lived in for 20 years.
Because you were dealing with people that essentially were at a low, they didn't have money, and you're coming for the bank or whoever, like, hey, we're taking this car back, you're not making the payments. So you're finding people that are pissed off, like,
yep.
And so you have to build thick skin with that.
Yes. I mean, and you know, I'm not going to say that everyone who's getting their stuff repossessed is a bad person, because about 90% of them are normal people, and either they're at their wits' end with the lender, they're at their wits' end with their own personal issues.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they got themselves there.
Yes.
The realists know they got themselves there, and they're extremely upset with their position.
Yeah.
And the guy that shows up to do the work is the one they're going to take it out on. And
for sure.
There's a lot of that. You just got to check it at the door.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just, but yeah, I mean, I'm one of those souls. It's just like, let's just cut to it. Let's get it done. I try to be as proactive as possible. And that living in that environment made me a very, very proactive soul, because I don't like coming back around and fixing shit.
Yes.
I want it to be done right.
Yes.
And it's done. And I don't have to come back and be constantly addressing this and fixing it. So that's why I try to be very, very direct with folks. Like, this is how it's going to be. It's how it needs to be. We need to do it like this, and then let's go do something else next week. And it's just.
And so, were you? What were you like in high school?
I'm probably a shithead.
Did you play sports?
No.
No sports.
No sports.
What were you into? Cars.
Cars, yeah.
Okay. What kind of car did you have in high school?
Started off with an '82 LeBaron. That was my first car, and I shared it with my twin sister. It was brown. It was convertible.
Okay.
It was a pile of shit. No, it was actually a good car.
Okay.
My dad bought it from one of his friends, and it was a good car. And then I got a little Nissan pickup truck because I wanted a pickup truck, and then I didn't want that, so I was going to buy a Mustang GT. My dad's like, "You're not buying a Mustang GT." And then for our 18th birthday, he showed up with a set of matching red Thunderbirds from me and my twin sister.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So then
brand new?
Yeah, brand new.
That's awesome.
Yep. So I it was the first year for that Thunderbird Super Coupe.
What year?
89.
Okay.
It was a fun car.
Yeah.
The fuck out of that.
God, bet.
I broke the drive shaft in that fucking thing.
How do you break the drive shaft?
I don't know. It was aluminum. I don't know how the fucking. Well, I mean,
you put your foot to the floor. That's how
well, yeah. You know, it was a 1-2 shift, and it's like, oh well, something just broke.
And so, what did you do out of high school? job wise? Like, what kind of business?
So I went to MU, University of Missouri Columbia, right out of high school.
Okay.
It's not where I wanted to go. It's where I was told I was going to go because that's where my older brother went.
Okay.
My parents were like, that's where you're going. And then my twin sister went to Stevens College, which is also in Columbia.
Okay.
And they're like, yeah, you're gonna go to MU. That's where you're gonna go. And you're not gonna go where you want to go. You're gonna go where we want you to go. That should be close. And
were they paying?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
So
yeah.
So they had the right, like
Exactly.
you're going here. Yep.
Exactly. And it wasn't where I wanted to be.
Okay.
I mean,
what were you majoring in?
When I went to MU, it was going to be engineering.
Okay.
I was always a math person and a physics guy and
very detailed, like
very mechanical.
Yes, very systematized.
Yeah.
And still to this day.
And I got to MU and was just so far out of my realm. I mean, everyone was so far ahead of me. It's like, there's no way in shit I can do this.
Okay.
It's not going to happen.
Okay.
So, I mean, I washed out. I quit going to classes. I wasn't going to make it. I knew I was going to fail. And I skipped every class I could skip.
This was in St. Louis?
Yeah.
St. Louis.
The college was in Columbia. It was in Central Missouri.
Okay, Central Missouri. Okay.
Yeah.
So you skipped class. Were you partying? Were you a partier?
Not really, but just really, screwing off. Mike and I were screwing off all the time.
So did you guys graduate same class in every high school?
So Mike's dad built this house from like here to the street away from my mom's house.
Okay.
And Mike and I met in 83, maybe 82, 83, 84, something like that.
I was just a twinkle in my mom's eyes back then.
Exactly. So I mean, we grew up that close.
Okay.
So I mean, it's really funny because people are like, how the hell did you guys both end up here?
Yeah.
We just both ended up here. We can tell that story in a bit. But
You went to school, so you're skipping class.
Washed out.
Now, was it more you're skipping class because you're like, man, I'm not gonna be able to compete with these guys, so why am I even here? I'm just gonna go.
I didn't, to be honest, I didn't want anything to even do with being in Columbia.
Oh, okay.
It's not where I wanted to be.
Okay.
I would have been better off staying in St. Louis and starting out at a community college.
Okay.
Because that's what happened. Was I went back and went to community college.
Oh, okay.
So I went back home.
Yeah.
After the first semester, started going to community college, and then I started working for my dad.
Okay. And what's your dad do?
Insurance.
Okay.
Well, he's retired now, but he was doing insurance. And in the, I guess it might have been the fall of '91. I think it was fall of '91. I got my insurance license.
Okay.
So he's like, "Yeah, you're going to do insurance."
So much for college.
Here we go.
Yeah.
And do insurance. Because I mean, the entire family does insurance. I mean,
Okay.
everybody worked for the same company. My mom was a claims adjuster for the company. My brother was an agent. My sister would end up becoming an agent.
Okay.
My dad had the largest agency in the entire company.
No kidding.
And it's like, oh, you're going to do insurance. It's like, oh, I guess I'm going to do insurance then. See how this works. It'll work just like going to Columbia.
Yeah.
And I worked there for, I don't know, 9 months.
Okay.
And it wasn't working. His office manager and there was a rub.
Okay.
And it was not going to work. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to take some time off school.
Okay.
And you can imagine how that went.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
went over like a lead balloon. Went over like shit. So what I did was I took some time off school. I started working for a family friend that sold and serviced commercial kitchen equipment.
Okay.
And I drove a route for him for probably 2 or 3 years.
So would you fix it so it's sold and service? So would you go service
just
or
picking up and dropping off stuff?
Okay.
So like if they had a slicer done,
yeah.
I'd go out there, I'd get that, and they had a hand knife sharpening service, so that's the route I was driving. And then any of this other ancillary stuff that needed to be done, they said, hey, our meat slicer's down. We take a meat slicer out, we bring the other one back in.
Gotcha.
Pretty big operation.
Okay.
It was a shitty job.
Yeah.
It was for a family friend, so it's kind of
yeah.
That was kind of cool. But it's where I learned the street in St. Louis.
Okay.
So that was From there, it was into the repossession business.
And so what do you mean you learn the street? Like just like a different, you weren't exposed to like the other side of society? Like what do you mean by the street?
Learned how to get around St. Louis.
Okay.
I mean, we grew up in one of the most affluent zip codes in St. Louis.
Okay.
We went to a nice school.
Gotcha.
I mean, we weren't by any means starving.
Well, if you and your twin sister got matching cars on your 18th birthday, that should tell you something.
Yeah, we weren't going hungry or not having clothes and shit.
Okay.
We were doing fine.
Good. Well, that's good. That's actually a good thing.
But it's dealing with the folks in the city. I mean, St. Louis City is a rough town.
Yeah.
What a lot of folks don't know is it's in the top 3 of the most violent cities in the country.
Is it?
For a couple of years running, it's the first North American city on the list.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And it's always been like that. And people are like, oh, no, it's like Flint, Michigan, or it's Oakland. No, it's St. Louis.
And so you were repoing in the city and, okay.
East St. Louis, which is right across the river.
So you were delivering, and then how'd you get into the repo?
So I was going to go back to school.
Okay.
I was like, screw this, because I hadn't gone to
So
school.
you said, screw insurance, screw the delivery. I'm going back to school.
It's like I got to go back to school and get the school thing done, because I mean back then everyone convinced themselves they needed to go to school.
Yeah.
I mean, if there would have been a tow truck tech school,
Yeah.
I'd have gone to that damn thing.
Yeah.
Because I taught myself how to run a tow truck.
Okay.
So I end up in the how the hell did this happen? So a friend of mine had this friend named Greg.
Okay.
And Greg worked for this repossession agency, and we'd always see Greg. And I don't know how the hell him and I got to talking, but he's like, you ought to come to work with us. I'm like, well, I'd really like to have a night job where I could go to school during the day, because the issue with these colleges is if you're taking night classes, it's like they got you on a heroin drip. You can't,
For sure.
You can't get through college.
No.
Because you can't get your course selection plotted out and get it done in a block of time, because there may be a class available this semester,
but then you got to wait next semester for another one to even be eligible to get into another class.
Exactly. So, you can take the prereq for the next course, but the next course may not be available for another 2 semesters in the night slots that you can go in. So,
Gotcha. So it take forever.
Yeah. You weren't going to get it done.
Okay.
So it's like, I got to get a night job.
So you can go to school during the day, get all your curriculum. Yeah. Okay.
And just get it done. So, by this time I was over at UMSL, University of Missouri, St. Louis.
Okay.
Back at a 4-year college, going to finish up. And, Greg's like, yeah, come to work for us. You can finish out this semester. Because it was like right in the middle of the semester. He goes,
okay,
finish out this semester, and then I will have you on night shift with me by next semester.
Perfect.
Went over there, figured out how to do a couple things, and then got on night shift with Greg. And I mean, Greg taught me everything I knew about the business.
Gotcha. Greg
was a crack smoker, which is to be expected in the repossession business.
So were you a crack smoker?
No, no, absolutely not. But it's really funny. I guess everybody kind of expects that out of folks in the space. It's like, that guy's got to have a few screws loose to be doing that.
It's a tough gig. I wouldn't want to do it. Did you carry a gun when you did it?
No, we didn't have concealed carry back then.
Okay.
And all you're really gonna do is you're gonna
brandish it, like show it.
No, somebody's gonna see it on you, like, oh yeah, he pulled the gun on me. Then you're defending that.
Oh.
I caught a gun case in like '96.
Okay.
And it was a motherfucker to get past. Somebody said I brandished a gun at them, and it was somebody whose car I repossessed. And they saw me in my personal car. I'd got a new Explorer, and I hadn't had time to tint the windows because I always had tinted windows.
Yeah.
And they saw me at night. I just had shoulder surgery, so I was driving all gimped up and shit from my mom's house to my apartment in St. Charles County, and they saw me on Highway 94 and called the law. Well, it took those bastards like 3 weeks to find me.
Oh my goodness! And so they showed up at your house?
No, actually, what they did was they showed up with my dad. They called the lender on my truck.
Okay.
Which was the financial institution for the insurance company my dad worked for. And then we knew the guy who ran it, and they called him and said, hey, we're looking for this guy. And they in retrospect, they told the guy at the lending institution a lot of shit they shouldn't have told him. Like, hey, one of your lenders is flourishing a gun and all this shit. We need to figure out who owns it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. And then my dad went off the rails. I mean, off the rails.
So were you in repo at this time?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, by this time, I'm
couple years in.
23, 24.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I'm a couple years in because I've already gone through one company and into a second company.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm into it. And oh God, he was furious. He had no idea I owned guns. He's against guns. He wanted to kill me. He was ready to choke me out. And I just happened to be at his office one day when the call came in, and he's like, "Hey, come here."
Super quiet, and
He's
you know you're in trouble.
He's
You're
like, "Do you have any guns?" I'm like, "Yeah, why?" And it just goes off in this tirade. I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, you're gonna have to go out there and you're gonna have to turn yourself in on this thing." I was like, "I'm not doing shit."
Now, me and Mara this brings up something. Me and Mara were just talking about, I think yesterday, we're driving, and I have guns, and my parents didn't have guns. Like, no one had guns, and we were talking, and she goes, "How did we even, like, have guns?" And it was like, well, we started waking up and seeing the world as a different place, and was like, yeah, we should probably have some guns just because.
Yeah.
You know? And how did you get into guns? Since you're saying your dad was...
I just like shooting.
Okay.
All my friends shot. We were always going to the gun range. I started buying guns.
Okay.
I started buying Glocks because they were inexpensive guns, and I just like shooting.
And once you shoot a gun, you're like, this is cool. It's freaking fun.
Yeah, it's a blast.
It's fun to shoot. Yeah, it's fun. And then it's like, oh, this isn't as scary as they make it out.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's one of those deals that if you self-teach, it's even more fun. You don't have to be like, okay, now do this. It's like you're just going to go out there and it's like you're trying to wrestle a tiger or some shit. It's like, hope this thing doesn't explode in my hand.
So I was just curious because me and Mario were yesterday asking that question, like, how did we even get into it? And so I was curious because you're like, my dad's anti.
The gun thing, once you become a gun owner, it's just like, it's like
no big deal.
Else.
Yeah.
You know, it's like people that collect art.
Yeah.
Like if you want to own art, that's great. I don't see it. It's not my jam.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
sorry to sidetrack you. So he's on the phone. He starts yelling at you, lecturing you.
I was actually at the office and I was outside. And he came out. He starts yelling at me, and we got some jank attorney. Somebody one of his friends knew, and I mean this was a bad deal. I mean I was on the verge of taking,
and this is all hearsay. Just they said he Brandon, and then now it's not innocent until proven guilty. It's guilty until proven innocent.
Especially back then because this is pre concealed carry, so they were doing anything they could to get a gun stat.
Okay,
it's like fuck this guy. Put this case on him. We don't
care.
care. And I mean I was a stupid kid. Not stupid. I was just a stupid guy. I didn't know shit.
Yeah.
And like, oh yeah, we got you in circumstantial evidence and all this shit. And the case kept getting kicked. And I got a funny story. So before I turned myself in, I called an attorney friend of mine before we got an attorney. And I'm like, what do I do? She goes, your parents still got that place at the lake? I said, yeah. She goes, go down there. Get the hell out of town. They're gonna come pick you up. I'm like, you're kidding me. He's like, no, leave. So I called my girlfriend. It's like, I'm out. I got to leave town. I can't take my car. We got to go to Lake of the Ozarks. And she had two really inconspicuous vehicles, a H1 Hummer and an Acura NSX, both white.
Okay.
So we left town in the NSX. Yeah. Went to Lake, stayed down there about 4 or 5 days, and I called the attorney. She goes, you're going to have to come back and turn yourself in on this. And Town and Country Police were coming by my mom's house, and I was living in St. Charles County, and finally I knew everyone in Town and Country from growing up over there, and either John Nienhaus or Mark Luke tomorrow called me like, hey, we got this warrant on you. We're looking for you at your mom's house. What's going on? I'm like, I'm not living there. And they go, we know you're not. Where are you? Like, I'm not telling you shit. I'm not telling you where I am, but I'm not even in town.
All from hearsay. Okay, so go on.
So anyway, long story short, we get this attorney. Attorney's terrible. And, you know, like, oh, he's got you on circumstantial evidence and all this bullshit. And this thing drags on, gets continued. And I bring it up to my employer. And the repossession agency I was working for at the time, they also had a private investigation firm.
Okay.
And I said, give me the information on the guy. Let me see what I can find out about him. First thing they found out was I repossessed his car.
So conflict of interest.
And it's like, oh. And then they kept working on him, figured out he had like 3 DWIs. He was driving a school bus for the county. Okay. So it was starting to get really, really good. And they just kept digging and digging and digging on him. Okay. So they had me to where they were going to put me on paper for like 4 years on probation.
Shut up.
Yeah. And I was going in and going to take paper. And I was like, you know what? And they had a new prosecuting attorney because they kept changing prosecuting attorneys. I said, you and I need to have a talk really quick. And my attorney's like, I wouldn't recommend that. I'm like, I'm getting ready to take probation. It can't get worse than this.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? Put me in prison?
Yeah.
Over flourishing? You've not been a help so far. I don't care. Just you go over there and shut the fuck up. And I went back in the room. I said, I don't know how this thing's even gotten this far. I said, you're going to have to bring this guy in, and this is what I know on him.
Yeah.
And I started waxing intellectual on the guy, and he's like, to be honest with you, I don't know how this thing's even gotten this far.
Yeah.
I said, oh, no one knows how it's gotten this far, but no one's tried to slow down the train. And he's like, I'm just going to throw this thing out.
No shit.
No shit. I was going in there to sign paper. I had already sold all my guns.
Good man.
And had to prove I got rid of them.
Yeah.
I had to get rid of like 5 guns. Had to do all this shit in preparation for this, and then was getting ready to take paper.
And he threw it out.
Like, I'm not doing this crap.
What a good guy though to throw it out once he talks to you face to face.
Well, when their witness is a drunk driving a school
so
bus.
he saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
okay, this may not go the right way. We're gonna throw this one out.
Yeah. It was obvious where I was fixing to take it because at that point I had nothing to lose on the deal.
Gotcha. Okay.
So they threw it out, but I
don't know. That just pisses me off. Where hearsay. Someone said they don't like you. They can say something about you, and now you have to prove that you didn't do it. And even it's like, well, I can't. How do I prove that I didn't do it? Yeah. He's saying, well, we have a witness saying, well, I'm saying you didn't. Okay, well, we're gonna take his side over yours, and now you're guilty. It's I don't know.
It's business. The whole legal thing's a business. It's a big goddamn racket, if you ask me.
It is, yeah. It's big business.
Yeah, hell
yeah. Government is big business. The
private law, all that crap. Yeah.
Prison system, privatized prison system. Like, there's big money in that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, let's make all these laws that put people in jail for smoking weed. And we'll make $50,000 to $70,000 off each inmate,
and then we'll legalize it and we'll leave them in jail.
Yeah, it's like, what is going on?
It's the craziest shit in the world.
It's when you like look at it from above, it's like, this just doesn't make sense, right? Because it's you would think, oh, it's a drug, and what is it? 90% of people that are in jail or that were in it was for weed.
Yeah, it's nonviolent shit.
It's nonviolent.
Smoking grass in the corner. It's like,
are
you kidding me with this stuff? Really?
And it's like, wow. And it's still to this day, it's like, we're putting those people in jail.
Well, not in California. We're not.
We're not in California, but still.
We're letting murderers go and putting surfers in jail.
Yeah, I know.
Surf's up, dude.
What's going on, man? So that's just crazy to me, that just thinking that, going, and that was in the 90s that you got the gun charge?
Yeah.
So even in the 90s, it was still BS. Just a bunch of BS. And we're still fighting that same BS today,
Yeah, that whole 2A thing, the whole Second Amendment, it's always going to be a battle.
It is.
There's always going to be folks that want it. There's always going to be folks who don't want it.
Yeah.
So
is the United States the only place that can legally have guns? Do you know of?
I don't travel anywhere else. I don't care. Honest with you. I don't give a shit. Doesn't matter to me. Don't care, not one bit.
Oh man, that's crazy.
But yeah, so I did that stint in the repossession business until 90. I think it was 96. I'd fallen down walking into. I took my wrecker home with me, my tow truck.
Okay.
I was walking up my wrecker to get it one night, and I fell down. I screwed up my shoulder. I dislocated a shoulder.
That's a far drop, huh? Like, did you drop off?
Oh no, this was just in the icy parking lot. I wasn't even in the truck yet.
Oh.
I was like, oh great. So I had to have surgery on that.
Okay.
And then the entire last semester of school, I just didn't work.
Okay.
I was making so much money repping cars. I was making like $55,000 a year in 96 going to college full time, repossessing cars.
That's good money. That's great money.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was making a ton of money.
Yeah.
So like, screw it. I got a ton of money in the bank. I'm not going back to school, or I'm not going back to work. Fuck it.
Okay.
I'm just going to finish school, and had a falling out with my employer.
Okay. Greg? Or were you past Greg?
Oh, fuck. Greg was in jail by then.
Okay.
This is Greg's in jail for stealing somebody's identity by now.
Okay.
Greg's gone.
Okay.
Well, I should say allegedly stealing someone's identity. I don't know really. I don't know where Greg is anymore. Greg was a cool guy. But
so the company you were with, you got So what happened with that?
We just had a falling out over something, and I was like, well, that's fine because I'm not repossessing cars ever again. I'm done with that shit. I'll never do it again. And started a small transport company, transport and lease return cars, and then I was doing some work for Chrysler.
And you started the transport company, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how did you get into that? Like, what made you even think of, I'm going to start transporting vehicles?
I don't remember, to be honest with you. I made a call to American Honda Finance.
Okay.
And pimped them on the idea, like, oh yeah, we need everything in Missouri moved to Greater Chicago Auto Auction. Give us a rate on them, and just gave them rates based on the radius out.
Yeah.
So I started figuring out where all the Honda dealerships were, and it's like if they're within this radius is this much. I said, you got it, run with it. I was like, oh, now I got to figure this out.
now I got to get trucks. I
now
got to get trailers.
Now I got to go buy stuff. And I did that for, 18 months with American Honda.
And was this like the semi that has this double stacker, like you get
Actually,
8 cars on it?
It was a 1-ton and a 3-car wedge trailer.
Oh, okay.
That's all it was. But I was farming a lot of stuff out to an outfit out of Kansas City.
Okay.
Guys I knew in Kansas City. So they'd pick up everything in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
And then like Kansas City, St. Joe, Columbia, and then everything like inside of Columbia to St. Louis I'd handle.
Okay.
And I think I did it like that with the truck and trailer for like 4 months. I'm like, I don't want to be on the road every day. I just sold truck and trailer. It's like, you guys, I just became a forwarder. I had the business like, here, you guys do it. I just wrote them a check for it.
Okay.
I just made money in the margin. I sat in an office in the back of my dad's office in St. Louis, running this little empire. And it's like, this is great.
Good for you.
I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Well, then I got Chrysler Financial, because Chrysler Financial was in town.
Okay.
I knew somebody. My dad knew somebody at Chrysler Financial, and I don't know how the conversation came up, but somehow it started, and I started talking to them, and I started moving all their lease returns.
Okay.
Well, by this time, I was back talking with my previous employer.
Okay, the repo guy?
Yeah, and he had this rollback they weren't using. I'm like, why don't you just lease me that rollback?
Okay.
He's like, deal. Because they'd use it at night, and they wouldn't use it during the day.
Okay.
So I'd use it during the day moving cars.
Okay.
And everything came to the same.
And a rollback's a flatbed, right?
Yep.
The
Haul
bed
one, tow one. Yep.
Yep. Okay.
You move 2 at a time. So I was moving, I was running lease returns for Chrysler during the day, because they'd come into St. Louis Auto Auction. Then all the American Honda stuff that came in at night or came in on the fax during the day, I'd send out that night to the company out of Kansas City, and they just come through the 10 car, hit all the dealerships. And then the stuff in St. Louis, when I got the rollback, I'd just start aggregating it to a lot.
Okay.
And then they just come through the lot, and then instead of hitting all the dealerships in St. Louis, I'd aggregate them to a lot.
And then they
just hit the lot and then go to GCAA with it.
Streamline it a little bit without you being on the road long distances.
Yeah, or them having to come into St. Louis, be bouncing around to 13 different Honda stores. It's like, I'll just get them all here, and then you guys come through the truck or two a week and just go.
Perfect.
So
were you making good money?
Yeah, I wasn't complaining. Wasn't complaining at all. Yeah, so I did that for a while, and I was in Chrysler's office picking up some lease return orders, and they were talking about doing this they called it direct contact collections. That was the name we end up coining for it.
Direct contact
collections. They had this scheme.
Okay.
So they were trying to reduce delinquency.
Okay.
And St. Louis is one of the largest markets for auto delinquency.
Meaning people being late on their payments.
Yep.
Okay.
It's like among the worst.
Okay.
And it's historically among the worst, if not the worst.
Okay.
So they got this bright idea, and they say, hey, we know you use repossessed cars.
Uh-huh.
Could you maybe try this out and see if it works? We want to see it. We want to prove the concept.
Okay.
I'm like, well, how's it going to go? I'm like, well, you go out there, you knock on the door, you ask for the money, and then you put them on the phone with us, and we'll just do a Western Union over the phone. You don't have to touch cash. I'm like, yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
That's not a problem at all. Started doing that, and
so would you go with your tow truck, like, and if they didn't pay, like, all right, I'm taking your car right now.
Actually, what I did was that I would do in the evenings.
Okay.
So by that time, American Honda was gone. Somebody else had got them.
Okay.
Which was actually, it was getting to the point where the margin was getting so low, I didn't really give a shit.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's like, oh, it went away?
Darn.
I won't be going back and trying to get it back. And so I'd get up early, I'd get all my lease returns moved.
Okay.
Go home, and I had an office in my house by then.
Okay.
And all the stuff would come in, and I'd go out between like I could go out till 9. So I think I started like 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock.
In the afternoon?
Yeah, and then I'd go out till 9. I had to be off the road by 9.
Knocking on people's doors. Okay.
And it was going great.
Okay.
We were making money hand over fist.
And would you get a percentage? How'd you get paid on the deal?
I'd bill them out a flat rate.
Okay.
Whether we cured it or not.
Gotcha.
And that went on for like 2 years.
Okay.
And I mean, it was to the point where I was working 7 days a week. On Saturday and Sunday, when I couldn't move lease returns, I just work like 14 hours straight.
And did you run into a lot of conflict with that?
No.
No?
No, I'd just be like, hey, I'm with Chrysler, and we talked to you about this auto loan, all this, and they did like, yeah, I can't pay it, or what do I got to do, or, you know, it's right there, come get it, or, I mean, it's...
So it was a lot less forceful than just showing up to repo okay.
Yeah, like, but it's like, okay, you need to understand this is the last step.
Yes.
Before the inevitable. But from being in the repossession space, you always had to take really copious notes.
Okay.
So I would just take really copious notes and be like, vehicles there. You know, if I was walking up and we're looking for a 1500 Ram and there's one there, I'd check the VIN. If it is, get the license plate number, color, and all this stuff, and how the house is laid out. If it comes time to repossess it,
there's notes, there's everything.
the picture's already been painted. They know when they get there exactly where in the driveway it's going to be sitting.
Gotcha.
And made a pile of money doing that. And I made a pile of money. I never had time to do anything else, so there was just like money was in the bank and more money and more money and more money.
Good for you. And how old were you at this time?
25, 26.
Okay.
And I went into Chrysler Financial one day, and they said, hey, what do you think about repossessing cars? It's like, I don't think about it anymore. I don't think about it. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And the first company I went to work for, they had Chrysler Financial.
They had that contract.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they were one of the agencies that had the contract, but they had a reputation for getting the lender in legal trouble all the time.
Okay.
They're like, hey, we've talked to the skip tracer over there. We've talked to the owner of the company. Every time you give us information, you know, if we give you an account to collect it and it can't be collected and it has to go repossession, your information's always spot on. And
Gotcha.
they said, the people that own this agency and the skip tracer have bragged about you. So we know you know what you're doing.
Okay.
They said, you know, they've unwittingly given you glowing reviews.
Okay.
So they've kind of secured this for you. What do you think about it? I'm like, well,
show me the money.
I mean, you know, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
How many cars a month are we talking about? It's got to make sense on, you know, it's got to pencil out.
Yes.
And they said, you know, this is current traffic. This is how many they're doing. Da 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 da. I'm like,
and how do you get paid in the repo business? Per each car you bring in?
Per car.
So if you don't get the car, you don't get paid?
So back then, everything was non-contingent. So on a non-contingent model, you get paid a closing fee.
Okay.
And then on a contingent model, you don't get paid a closing fee. And early on, it was all non-contingent, and then the industry went over to contingent, and then it went over to like a one-price model. By that time, I already sold the business, got out of it. I was like, I'm going to be over there somewhere. I'm getting out of this shit because the money's going away.
Yeah.
So yeah, I gave him a fee schedule. It was repossession and keys and skip tracing and mileage and this and that and the other. And it's just, you know, it's just a fee schedule, and you build the bill when you repossess a car. You figure out what you had to do to it, send the bill, done.
Gotcha. Okay.
And you know, they gave me, you know, they opened the window so I could kind of see what the traffic was going to look like.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, we could probably do this.
Okay.
I said, when do you need to be going? They said, as soon as humanly possible.
Today? Can you work today?
So I knew the guys. At the time there was, I think 3 record dealers in St. Louis or just around there.
Uh-huh.
And I knew the guys at the biggest one.
Okay.
I knew them because I was buying trucks for my previous employer, the one I got in the argument with.
Yeah.
I had an investigation firm. So I called out there. I'm like, hey, I need a wrecker. Like, what do you need it for? I said, repossess cars with it. Fuck else would I need it for?
Duh.
They're like, what? I'm like, yeah. They said, well, you got this one. I said, I need a used one that's got life left in it.
Okay.
They said, oh, we've got one.
Okay.
It belonged to Guy Barrett's at A1 Recovery out of, he was up around Springfield. I was like, oh, I know Guy.
Okay.
So I said, okay, let me come look at it. And I jumped in my truck and I drove out there, and I was talking to a guy on the way out there. I'm like, hey, tell me about this 97 wrecker you got out here at Purpose. He's like, oh God. He goes, that's a great truck. I said, well, why'd you get rid of it? He said, oh, well, they changed the body style and they went to a little bit heavier suspension than the new one, all the tow truck shit. And I said, if I bought that truck, am I looking at any problems? Because it's got like 97,000 miles on it. He goes, no. He goes, that's the best truck I've ever had. I wish I financially could have kept it.
Gotcha. Okay.
He said, if you need a truck, buy that truck. He said, I know that truck. He said, have somebody put some hydraulic lines on it and run. You're going to be fine.
Okay.
Went out there, and I think I paid $37,000 for that truck.
Okay.
Went out there, 37 was the number.
Did you pay for it cash or?
No, shit,
okay.
no.
I was like, you're balling then, brother.
No. You got to have something. You got to have some gas in the tank in case shit like this happens. It's
No
like,
kidding.
It's like, oh, my $37,000 in that wrecker, and COVID's hitting. I'm screwed. So no, I actually went to the bank, and I'd been banking there for years. Everyone knew what the hell I did, and they, it's all my stuff was there so they could see it. And they're like, what do you think about doing? I said, I'm gonna open up shop. And they're like, oh, Jesus Christ. Really?
This guy.
Okay. And it's like, yeah, we'll loan on it. Yeah, that's fine. Just get us all the information. And I said, how much you need to put down? They said, how much is it? And I told them, I said, we'll just loan the whole thing.
Perfect.
I haven't put a damn dollar down on it. All I do is pay the sales tax. I'm like, shit, this will work. Bought a truck, insured it with no assurances that Chrysler was even going to come through on it.
Oh, you didn't have a signed contract or anything?
No, they didn't do shit like that back then.
Okay.
Nothing. It was all handshake, good old boy stuff.
Okay.
So I bought this truck, had no lot to store cars.
I was going to say, where do you put the cars? So you don't have a lot? Okay.
So I had this really, really cool house back in St. Louis. It was in this cul-de-sac. And once you got to the end of the street, like the cul-de-sac was on the lot.
Okay.
So the street essentially went through the lot, and it got separated in two parcels, but the whole thing was my ground.
Gotcha.
And I had a giant detached garage behind the house.
Is this house you just sold a couple years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one I held on to. Then I went back and sold it in 17.
Yes.
So had a big detached garage in the back of it.
Okay.
All kinds of driveway behind it, beside it, garage on the front, cul-de-sacs out there. Later in life, I parked like 3 boats out there on trailers. That's how big the cul-de-sac was.
What's the most amount of cars you had in there at one time?
At my house?
Yeah.
Like 25.
25 cars?
Yeah.
Now, would you get neighbors complaining or anything?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Me and the psychopath next door, he had a race car. No one messed with us down there.
Okay, cool.
This is like our compound. Nobody came down there.
Okay, cool.
But I had to do that for like 3 weeks till I found a lot.
Okay.
It's like, okay, this deal's going to work. I got to find a lot.
Okay, so the contract ended up going through, not contract, but
Okay. The whole thing took.
Okay.
And got a lot that was like within 3 miles of the house, was close to the auction, and like it's going to work. And end up getting an Ford Motor Credit.
Okay.
Because
now, would you call them? How would that go? Or your reputation?
Would you believe the entire time that I owned that repossession agency for about 10 years, I solicited one client.
Everyone reached out to you, huh?
What would happen was, so I got into Ford because one of my collectors at GMAC or at Chrysler Financial was friends with a guy at Ford.
Okay.
And Ford had an office in St. Louis at the time. All those people were all out in Earth City, which is in St. Louis County by the auction.
Okay.
GMAC was out there. No, Ford was out there. Chrysler was out there. I think WFS was out there for a while, and then GMAC was over in Chesterfield or something like that. But
and these are banks, right?
Yeah, just auto lenders.
Auto lenders.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, and I would either get referred by somebody at company A to company B, or one of my collectors would leave company A and go to company D, and then take me with them.
Gotcha. So that's cool. So you built your business on your reputation. Okay.
And we never got anyone sued.
Okay.
And I think in the entire time, I think we only wrecked one car.
Wow.
And I did it. And I backed into a Dodge Ram in the fender with a wrecker. I was rolling backwards, and because the lot was kind of sloped, and I didn't realize I was rolling backwards.
So it wasn't even the car you were repossessing.
It was in my lot. It was repossessed.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's like I had to call a lender. It's like, hey, this guy's gonna redeem his car on Friday. I just crushed the fender. It's Monday. I gotta get this thing fixed. I said, stall this guy.
Gotcha.
Took the body shop, had it fixed. Came in and said, here's the deal. We hit the fender. I got it painted. Put a new fender out, painted it. We buffed the whole truck out. That's why it looks new. Guy's like, cool, that's fine. No problem.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's real good.
Yeah. I mean, we had a really good run. No one got hurt. Every now and again, a truck would get shot up.
What do you mean it would get shot up?
I mean, somebody shoot at it. You know, you'd
be like taking a car and then all of a sudden you're hearing gunshots?
Yeah. Or, you know, they try to chase you and run you off the road or.
Now, would you go with somebody or were you by yourself?
So I organized that deal in 99. The repossession agency I organized in the spring of 99.
Okay.
And I think I ran everything myself until 2005.
Would you redo that again, or would you hire and get people in sooner?
I don't know, because I mean the hardest part of owning any business is the human element. It's
100%.
It's the most expensive and it's the most complicated. It's the hardest to deal with. There was a guy in St. Louis whose dad started a repossession agency, and the whole time he had it, he only had one truck. It was him and his dad. Then his dad got shot on the job, got shot in the femoral artery by a .22, and he bled out in the truck.
What?
Kid took it over. I think to this day he is still a one-truck operation, and he still runs every night by himself. When I was running the street myself, that's when I had the most money. So I didn't have any time to spend it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I was buying shit for the sake of buying shit. I'd go out and buy a car just to prove I could buy it.
You couldn't drive it.
Couldn't do shit with it. I was always working.
Gotcha.
It was nutty. And a time came. It's like I cannot be on the street anymore. I just can't.
So how many people did you end up getting?
Well, when I was still running all the work, I had one guy working for me, and he'd go out during the day and pick up all the voluntary surrenders.
Okay.
And then he was actually doing the field work.
Okay.
The field collections and stuff. So I had him doing that, and then transporting repos to the auction for disposition. And I'd go out and I'd repossess cars.
Gotcha.
And it was a really, really hard way to make a living.
What kind of money was in it?
I mean, by 2004, 5, 6, I think we were charging out, I don't know, $750, $800 a car.
Per
car. But I could build a bill and I could justify it because no one ever got in trouble.
Okay.
And there are other agencies in town, and they'd be like, oh, it's $275 for the repo and some keys, and it's like $300 a car by the time they're done. Or I mean, they weren't making any money. They had a bunch of trucks.
Yeah.
Run a bunch of orders. And then by like 2005 or 2006, I owned a condo at Lake of the Ozarks and 3 boats.
So 6 figures, breaking 100,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, easy.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it would be you'd gross $600,000-700,000 a year.
No shit.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
but you're working your tail off. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, and you
weren't spending it all on crack.
No, I wouldn't exactly.
So that's the difference.
No, I had a girlfriend. It was more expensive. I had a girlfriend who liked nice stuff.
So she did all the shopping and plan.
This is some good tea.
Let's take another drink here.
No, she was a good gal. She took pretty good care of me.
And then, so how did you get out of that?
The relationship?
No, the repo.
I sold the business.
Okay.
And it's really funny how that went down. So I was talking to somebody in the end of 2007, and by this time I was like 275, 280 pounds. I was fucking huge.
Okay.
My blood pressure was astronomical.
Okay.
I was supposed to be medicated. I'd been medicated for like 3 years, and I was like a zombie from like 2003 to 2006.
From your shoulder?
No, this is on blood pressure medicine.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't go to sleep. I couldn't wake up. I was miserable. I was depressed. And I had no clue what was going on. And it's the only thing I could really numb it was just to work.
Okay.
And I was fucking huge. I was giant.
Okay.
And I forget how old I was. I went to the cardiologist one time, and I had convinced myself I was going to have a heart attack.
Shut up.
And I made him, I think I was like 29. I made him do a stress test. I'm like, dude, I was like, dude, I've got a fucking problem. I don't know what it is, but we need to do a stress test. He's like, oh no,
your mind is a weird thing because your mind will bring that too.
Oh, I convinced myself I was in trouble. I mean, I sold myself on it.
Okay.
And then once he's like, dude, you're totally clean. It's like, okay, well, just go back to eating steak all the time, eating steak for lunch. And it's like, well, nothing's going to kill me.
The doctor told me I was good.
Yeah, it's just weight is going to kill me. And So I was on the blood pressure medicine for like 3 years, and I was at Lake of the Ozarks. I remember this. It was like maybe 2006 or 2007. I was down washing one of my boats, and I remember walking down to the dock like a fucking zombie, and then washing one of the boats and walking back up. And I'm like, fuck this, I'm done. I took the shit and I threw it in the trash can. I told my girlfriend, like, I'm off that shit. She goes, no. She goes, you need to be on that. You've got a blood pressure problem. You and your dad both do. Your whole family does.
Yeah.
So you need to be on that shit. I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Not taking it anymore. And then my blood, I mean, it's just, how the hell I didn't have a stroke was a miracle.
Okay.
It was an absolute miracle.
Do you still have high blood pressure?
Oh, yeah. I'm on 2 blood pressure medicines.
Okay.
I'm 205 now, to put things in perspective.
Yeah.
So when I moved out here, when we met, I was like 250.
Were you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then in the beginning of last year, I started intermittent fasting, and I lost almost 40 pounds in like 9 weeks.
And so you go 8 hours without eating?
Yep.
How does that work?
I don't eat until noon.
Okay.
And then I stop eating at 8. And what I did was I completely altered my diet.
Okay.
So it was controlling when I ate and what I put in my face. Mm-hmm. And then I was taking that first form Opti Greens deal, because no one ever eats enough green vegetables.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the best thing I ever did.
Is it? Okay.
I mean, you're going to be on the toilet for like 2 weeks, but once your body adjusts to it.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, it is the absolute best thing I ever did.
I'm going to have to get the...
I still to this day take it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so back in 2006, 2007, we'll come back up to that in a minute.
So you got off the blood pressure?
I got off blood pressure medicine, and I turned into a fucking psychopath again.
Did you?
Oh, just running.
In what way? Like working?
Just rolling hard as hell. I mean, it was like we'd be down at the lake. I would work all week. We'd jump in my...
And when you say work all week, it's like all night, all day. And I worked night shifts for 6 months. One of the hardest things I ever did in my life. You know, it's a different animal when you work nights. And if you
do it for like 2 decades.
If you've never worked night, like that is hard. Because you are, even just working nights, like my days off, I was a zombie. I'm like, yeah. So, okay. So when you say you work all week, it was like night and day.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you'd go to the lake and...
We'd jump in my station wagon, me and my girlfriend and 3 dogs jump. I had this old raggedy ass BMW station wagon I love. We'd jump in that bitch and we'd take off to the lake.
Okay.
And like every third time, I'd get pulled over going like over 80, 85 miles an hour by State Patrol. And we'd just be fucking rolling.
Okay.
Never get a ticket. And get down there, wash boats, live like a psychopath for 2 days, drive home late on Sunday. And by this time, I wasn't repossessing cars. I was running the office, but I'd still go out at night. I'd still help the guys if they needed me. So I was still living this really, really oddball lifestyle.
Okay.
And
you're on call all night too, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean,
like your phone's on.
If the shit hits the fan,
you're there.
And and one of the guys gets jammed, I got to go out.
For sure. Yep.
So, I mean, by 2007, I'd had it.
Okay.
The price of fuel was going up. I knew my health was declining. I was like, I got to get out of this shit. By then, I was like, this shit's going to kill me.
Okay.
It's like, I cannot do this anymore.
And so how'd you sell the business? Who'd you sell it to? Like, how'd that come about?
That's funny how that worked out. So the guys that had the lot next door to me, the first lot I had, they were a Mustang restoration shop, and I bought this 66 Mustang.
You still have it?
No, fuck no.
Oh.
They convinced me to buy it.
Okay.
I bought it. They restored it. I got half what I put in it. Then I bought the boat. They had a kid working for them.
Okay.
His name was Jonathan. And I had just mentioned that I was like, I got to sell this business. I got to sell this and find something else to do. Well, 2 companies bought it out. There's a company in Memphis, Tennessee, and a company in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And Jonathan's mom was friends with a guy. I mean, we're going to go all the way around the mountain on this deal. Was friends with a guy out of Dyersburg, Tennessee, who worked for the company out of Memphis.
Okay.
Somehow it got mentioned to him, or he mentioned it to her that they're looking to buy somebody, and my name and number got exchanged. They just called me.
Okay.
Like, hey, we understand you want to sell. It's like,
so you're ready to go, and all of a sudden you get a call.
I'm like,
Like, did you even tell people I'm going to sell the business, or you were just thinking it?
I just mentioned it. We were sitting there. I think they were repossessing a Shelby Mustang or something. Jonathan was goofing around, and I was sitting there, and I'd had it.
Okay.
I was. It's like every day. It's like I'd got my ass kicked. It's like I gotta get rid of this fucking thing.
It's weird how the universe works like that. Mm-hmm. It's like, I need to get rid of it, and then all of a sudden, like it was just a thought that you talked about, and then boom. So they called you up. How'd that go down?
They called me up. We goofed around back and forth for a couple months, and going into.
Was there a business to sell without you? You're like selling your contracts, right?
Yeah, I was selling the equipment, business, everything.
Okay.
I mean, what they were trying to do was they were trying to get into the market. Okay. They wanted to. They were going to partnership. They're going to partner up, and they were going to attack Missouri, Kansas, and Colorado.
Okay.
And they wanted that piece of business.
Yeah.
So the easiest way to do it is go and buy an existing agency.
Yeah.
Because if they would have come, you were not going to come into St. Louis from out of town and open up shop.
No.
Somebody would. I mean, the maniacs there that own repossession agencies, they just burned your trucks.
Gotcha.
They're lunatics.
They're lunatics.
Yeah, we were lunatics. No, actually, it's I got along with everybody.
No, you do get along with everybody.
I mean, all the repossession agency owners, they all hated each other, but they all liked me, and I was friends with all of them. They'd call me in the middle of the night, like, "Hey, we got a truck broke down. Can you bring your rollback over here and get it?" It's like, don't you guys have a rollback? No. Okay, I just go to the shop and get the rollback, and George would be out working one of the wreckers. I just haul their wrecker in,
But that's why they liked you, because you're a man of character, and they could be like, I know if I called this guy, or
they call and say, "Hey, we got this problem in the truck." It's like, well, it sounds like a hydraulic line blew off. Is there oil under the truck? Yeah, there is. Yeah, hydraulic line's off. Go fix it. So
did you sell it for good money?
Nah, I mean, okay money.
Okay,
nothing you're gonna get rich off of.
Any like cash plus like royalty?
Actually, I owner financed it. Oh. They could have stroked a check on the deal.
Okay.
And I owner financed it.
Okay.
I was like, yeah, that's fine. But I also didn't want to take a big rip of money in 1 year and then all of a sudden go away in taxes. I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that in a second.
Okay.
And then they tried to write this really, really wonky contract, because what they wanted me to stay on for a period of time.
I bet, yeah.
They're like, well, we don't have anybody in the St. Louis market that we trust, and would you stay on with us for a while? It's like, yeah, I'll do that. It was like a 2-year contract. I'm like, yeah, I could stay with them for it's like I could stick around here for 2 years until they pay me out. That's not a big deal.
And they'll pay you a salary on top of that.
Yeah, they'll pay me a salary, and then they'll pay the note. It's like, I can do this for 2 years.
Okay.
I can endure a lot of fucking misery.
Okay.
We almost killed each other.
No shit.
Oh, it was bad.
Okay.
It was really bad.
Now how come it was bad?
Because they had no intention of honoring any of it. They were trying to figure out a way to get shit for free, and they were fucking with the wrong guy on the deal.
Okay.
Because I'll wreck you guys. It's that simple.
Gotcha.
And so that was in 2008. They bought it out beginning in 2008, and right out of the gate, it was terrible.
Okay.
I mean, it's like all the guys were miserable. They wanted, like, oh, we've got this general manager who used to work for Chrysler Financial, which was a guy I didn't like at the time. Okay. Him and I hated each other. And like, we want you to like be the regional manager out here. It's like, I'm selling this thing because I don't want to do this shit.
Yes.
If I wanted to do this shit, I just do it myself, and you guys wouldn't even be here.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't want this responsibility.
Yeah.
I will help you get there as part of our deal, but I don't want to be doing this shit.
So how'd you get out of it?
Oh, they came in one day and fired me. In 2011. I ended up staying there
for 2008,
3.5 years.
What were you doing? Why didn't you get out of there?
10, 11. Because they were paying me good money. I had actually negotiated a pretty good salary, and I didn't really have anything else to do. So, and then when the general manager didn't even find out how much I was making because it was kind of concealed.
You're making more than him?
Yeah, he was pissed.
He's like, this guy's got to go.
Yeah, in like year 2.5 years in, he calls me. He's like, hey, yeah, I've got to send this check to you. I'm like, okay. So? It's like, I'm trying to make heads or tails of this. I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. This is gonna be good. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna be honest with you. it's probably more than you make, and this is what I negotiated. I said they wanted to try to beat me down on the sale price, so I got it back in the salary.
Yeah.
I said they paid me They paid me either way.
Yeah.
And he's like, those son of a bitches. he was.
No, were you friends with him at this time? Were you guys on good terms? Because
Yeah,
at first you didn't like him, but you're on good terms.
Yeah,
with him?
towards the end, he come to realize that he needed me.
Okay.
Because he was so far out of his element.
Gotcha.
He thought he was really smart. He was an okay guy. He meant well.
Yeah.
He was just really far out of his element.
Gotcha.
And it's like I was no threat because it's not like I'm gonna go buy more trucks and start that mess up again.
Exactly.
I didn't want any part of it.
Yeah.
And but yeah, there was all kinds of weirdo stuff like that all the time. It's just like always this deception and
Just very corporate,
stupid shit. And,
yeah.
They're like, oh, we got to be on this conference call once a week. I'm like, for what? Like, we got to talk about production. It's like, production of what? Like, well, our numbers. I'm like, what the fuck you want me to do about it? It's like, I don't own this place. You guys do. You guys figure it out. Just tell me what needs to be done.
Oh, man.
And nobody really had any respect for anybody. That's essentially what really damaged it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of unique how it came about because Travis, the guy that was running it,
yeah,
he came in one day, he couldn't take it anymore, and he quit.
Okay.
They wore that poor kid out. I mean, they wrecked him.
Gotcha.
And he went to work for some really religious guy, and he went to work for some guy in his church who had some student housing in Olathe, Kansas, of all places.
Okay. Good move for him?
Oh, yeah. Well, at the time it was. The guy owned a ton of apartments.
Okay.
Big real estate guy. He left. They put somebody else in charge, Brian, which Brian and I never, ever got along. I mean, we wanted to choke the fuck out of each other. Or he always wanted to choke me. I didn't give a shit. Like, shut up.
So 2011, you get fired.
Yeah, so in 2010, they did like 12 or 14 million in business.
Okay. Like your operation or the whole company?
No, this that operation that was Missouri, Kansas, Colorado.
Okay.
And part of Illinois.
Gotcha.
Did like 12 or 14 million.
Okay.
Somehow I saw the tax return.
And this is when the financial crash, so
Coming,
repos are up, like, so you guys were thriving in a sense, or these guys were
starving because what happened was that contingent model came in.
Oh, okay.
And then they wanted a one price model.
Uh-huh.
So when I could build a build to $700,
yeah,
they were getting like $315.
Okay.
And doing twice as much work.
Okay.
It was financially, it was awful.
Wow.
And I think there was a high degree of animosity towards me in the thing.
Okay.
But one of the reasons why I sold was we were rolling into the new administration, and they were already talking about this Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. And I knew.
So you saw the writing on the wall.
Oh, yeah. I mean, diesel in St. Louis was $4 a gallon at the time.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's when it was bank back then.
Yeah. And I'm like, and that's like, I got to get rid of this fucking thing. I knew what was coming down the road, and they bought it. And they were very, very adept in what they did. They were not by any means dummies because they were two big powerhouse companies. But It's like, how the hell did you not see this? And I'm just some stupid chucklehead in St. Louis, and I saw it.
Look at how many people are getting thrown a curveball right now. Mm-hmm. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So
what do you do?
Yeah, what do you do?
So, so in 10, they do 12 or 14 million. And in the middle of 11, they're backed up like $1 million to the two parent companies. Money's all gone. They're going backwards. They're sinking.
Okay.
And in August of 11, I drove by the post office, got the mail out of the mailbox, and I was driving in, and my lot manager calls me. He's like, "Hey, you might want to come down here." I'm like, "Why? What's going on?" He goes, "There's somebody here with a Minnesota tag on their car." I'm like, "Go ahead and pack up your shit." He said, "What?" And I said, "This fucking deal's done.
Okay,
it's over."
So you told the guy you were talking to on the phone?
Yeah, I told my lot manager.
Oh, you told him.
I said, "Just pack up your desk. This deal's done." I said, "They're coming in to fire everyone."
Oh,
he's like, "What do you mean?"
So not just you, everybody.
Well, it was just me.
Okay. But you're like, you wanted people with you.
No, I didn't care if they went with me or not.
Okay.
It's like I wasn't afraid of the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Because they had a surprise.
Okay.
The fucking lot was in my name. The lease was.
Oh, okay.
They had treated me so bad for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
The guy I leased from,
yeah,
who I had insured at one point in time, had all of his commercial buildings insured.
Okay.
When the lot renewed, I renewed the lease in my personal name and never told them.
Oh.
So they came into town like, hey, you know, we're going in a different direction.
Yep.
Oh no, now mind you, 3 people came into town.
Okay.
They'd never brought 3 people into any town to fire anybody, and they fired a lot of people in 3 fucking years. They brought 3 people in town. So, he's like, yeah, we're going to go in a different direction. I'm like, so you're going to get out of repossessing cars? I said, no. Oh, I said, you're just going in a direction I'm not going in, so you're going to go in this direction, and you want me to go in that direction. So that's fine.
Yeah.
I said, oh, okay, good. I was thinking it was going to be worse than that. I said, no. I said, I get it. I said, you know, I said, I know you guys are in financial trouble. I said, you really didn't even have to come down here to do this. You could have just fucking called me.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, well, I'm glad you're being professional about it. And I just kind of sat there at my desk. I'm like, okay, well, just take your shit and leave. Like, what? I'm like, yeah, get all your cars off my lot. Like, no, this is our lot. I'm like, no, it's not. It's my lot.
What was their reaction?
Well, they owed me a bunch of profit share money. They refused to pay me.
Okay.
And there was always, oh, yeah, we didn't make any money and all this bullshit. And,
Yeah.
and they probably owed me 6 figures.
Okay.
Yeah, they probably owed me, I don't know, $125,000 over 3 years. Never gave me anything.
Okay.
And that was something that was worked in the contract, was a profit share.
Gotcha.
And I knew early on, I was like, I'm never going to see that money.
Yeah.
So it's like, fuck it. You know, I wasn't going to wreak havoc on them, but I also wasn't going to let them get over on me.
You're like, let me put some contingencies in place here.
Yep. So I put that lease in my name personally, and they paid it. Well, when they came in, what they did was they had my original lease, and they'd photocopied it, and they took a typewriter, and they typed all the shit in, and then they photocopied that to make it look like a copy of the original.
So fraud.
Bingo. So they come in, and they already know they're going to have trouble with me. So they knew.
So did they know that the lease was in?
No, they had no clue.
They didn't. So when did they do the fraud? After?
Well, they had that in case they had to get me off the lot in case I refused. They had all their ducks in a row.
Okay.
They came in loaded for bear.
Gotcha.
They knew they had a really good feeling they're going to have trouble with me.
Okay.
And by that time, one of my guys that was working for me had started a towing company.
Okay.
And I kept telling him, like, George, you know, you're very skilled. Go out and buy a truck, start a towing company. And he started a towing company. Then another guy I got him into something. And I was just, towards the end, I knew the thing was going to go to shit. So I was like, I was trying to get my core guys that I brought on this journey of misery.
Something lined up.
Off on their own.
Okay.
Try to get them just out doing their own shit. So they wouldn't be in this.
Where all of a sudden they got nothing.
Yeah, this tornado of nonsense.
Okay.
That blew up after I left, or I was forced to leave.
Okay.
So the guy that owned the property, I told him, I said, this is what I need you to do. I need you to hold on to the wet signed copy of this lease.
Yeah.
I said, if I ever call you and tell you to come down here and bring it, I need you to come down here and bring it.
Gotcha.
I said, what's going to happen is I'm going to call you one morning. And this is like in 2009 that I did this.
2 years prior to. Okay.
Yeah. And it's like a year after the purchase.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how bad shit was going. And I said, all I need you to do is bring it to me when I make that call. And
so did you make the call?
They came in. All 3 of them were like in our front office, and I had an office back and back.
With their photocopy,
with all their stupid bullshit.
Okay.
And I said, hold on a second, I got to make a call. I go back and I close my door. I called Barry. I said, Barry. I said, yeah. I said,
remember what I told you?
I said, I need that file right now. He goes, oh, you're kidding me. Like, no, why? He goes, I thought you were just bullshit. I never thought this would really happen.
No.
I said, can you come down here? He said, hell yeah, I can come down here.
Okay.
I said, this is what you do. You come in. You walk through the office into my back office. You hand me the file and you walk out and you don't say shit to anybody. He goes, I don't care. Not my deal.
Okay.
As long as the lease gets paid, I don't give a shit what you do.
Okay.
And he knew I was good for it. So he brought the lease down, and I said, okay, so you guys need to get off my lot. Like, oh, we got the lease right here. It's like, no. I said, see this one that has my name on it, and it's dated in 2009, and it has my signature in blue pen, same pens I still use this day? I said, that fucking thing you have there is a photocopy from a lease I signed. I think I went in a lot in like 2004. I said, that is a photocopy of a lease I signed in 2004. That lease is renewed 3 times since then.
So what'd they say?
Like, what do you mean? I'm like, what I mean is you don't have a lease on the property. I do. Like, well, we've been paying it. I said, I don't give a shit who's been paying it. It's been in my name.
Yeah.
The truck out there could be in my name. You've been paying the bill. Still my truck.
Yeah.
Oh, God. They about turned white. They're like, oh, Jesus.
They're like, this is going to be a little bit more difficult than we planned.
They're like, uh-oh. So, I said, here's the deal. I said, give me my profit sharing money and I will walk out of this lot right now. I'll pick up my bag and my shit. I got a couple things I can put in my car and I'll drive away. You'll never see me again. Just give me my profit sharing money.
Okay.
Let's make this easy. And they're like, oh, well, we didn't make any money. I'm like, well, you're not making any money now because you guys managed it so poorly.
Yeah.
But you guys made money. I saw the tax return for 2010. It was like 12 or 14 million. I know there was profit there. I'm not fucking stupid.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Like, we're not leaving. I said, I'm not leaving. So they called the law.
Okay.
Like, shit, they all knew me. They were over there 3 times a week. It's like, yeah, go ahead and call those guys.
Give them a call.
They come walking like, what's going on, Chris? And they're like, oh, fuck. I'm like, here's the deal. I said, these guys have got a fraudulent lease. I've got the original lease. They've been paying the deal. It's a civil matter. I know you're going to tell us you can't do anything about it. Just let them know that this is between them and me. And they're like, that's exactly what this is. We're not getting involved in this. This is between you and them.
Okay.
They said, but, if something goes on over here, you need to come back. It's like, what, like somebody gets in a fight? So they left, and the one guy in Minneapolis, he called his brother.
Okay.
They were both these big cock diesel weightlifter motherfuckers, and they thought they were badasses.
Okay.
And he calls his brother, and his brother, he comes back in my office. He's like, hey, my brother wants to talk to you. And he puts the phone down, and he's fucking yelling at me. He's like, if I was down there, I'm like, what would you do?
What would you do?
What would you do if you're down here?
Yeah.
I said, why don't you come down here with your brother? I said, I'm going to call up the street, get a couple of my friends. We would just be some fighting motherfuckers up in this place. Come down. I said, get in your car. I said, I will wait for you. I said, it's like a 9-hour drive.
Okay.
I've driven it. Come on down. And then he calmed down. He's like, well, what do we got to do to solve this problem? I'm like, all you got to do is give me my profit sharing money.
Yeah.
And they refused to do it. I said, you know what? I'm done. This discussion's over. Fuck you. Take all your stuff off my lot. I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
I said, when you guys drive out of the lot tonight, I'm putting a new lock and a new chain on the gate that you guys cannot cut, and your shit is going to be locked in my lot. And you're going to have to explain to your lenders how your stuff is locked up. So start getting your stuff out of here right now. I said, I'm done with you. I'm not going to argue with you about this. I've tried to do this the right way. I'm just done.
Because at that point, once they leave, they can't come back. That's trespassing. Now they can be arrested.
I'm like, I'm totally done.
Okay.
And they said, okay, here's the deal. We're going to go, but we need to be back in here tomorrow. We're going to start hauling cars out of here right now. We need to be back in here tomorrow to get the rest of the cars. I said, that's fine. Show up at 7 o'clock. That's no earlier.
Yeah.
That's when the gate will be open and you guys can clear the place out. But that gate will be locked tonight with a new lock. If you get in down here, I'm going to know it and I'm going to be in your ass.
Mm-hmm.
And they came back and took all our stuff.
Damn it. I was hoping you'd tell me that they wrote you a check.
No, but actually, the guy from Minnesota who had me on the phone yelling at me.
Yeah.
So I ended up with this really weird gig, and I still have.
You ended up with a weird gig?
Yeah, that I still have this car consulting thing that I'm always posting all the weird cars.
Yeah.
So I ended up with this. I ended up with that gig like leading into that nightmare. I think I landed that thing back in like early part of 2010. I started doing that consulting gig.
And this is where you would take high-end cars and show people how to tow them, right?
Yeah. So like
Porsches, unibody cars and stuff?
How it originated is kind of weird, but how it ended up coming to be was...
How are you on time?
Oh, I'm totally fine.
Okay,
I'm
good.
Self-employed. I don't give a shit. I don't care. We can stay here all night. I don't care. Stay here till the sun goes down. We got lights. Ended up with that consulting gig. So I essentially write procedural manuals on how to handle difficult cars.
Okay.
For the largest aggregator of towing services in the country. So like when you call on your pickup truck, on your Ford,
yeah,
you're not calling Ford, you're calling this company.
Yeah.
And they've got a portfolio of towers they use nationwide, and they send somebody out to tow it.
Okay.
So I ended up with this training gig for them. So I was at a show in Orlando. It's the biggest tow show, biggest tow truck show in the country.
Okay.
It's usually in April every
About
year.
this time, yeah.
Yeah, it's usually right around tax time.
Okay.
And I was instructing at the show, and I think I was instructing on McLaren or something, and I'm we had this booth and a couple cars in it and tow truck, and I got a microphone and I got all these guys watching. I'm showing them how to do everything. And out of the corner of my eye, I see this guy. I'm like, fuck, it looks like him. And I
meaning the guy,
yeah.
Okay.
And I look over there. I'm like, come here. I said, sit down. I want to talk to you when I'm done. Just come on over here. He comes over. He sits down in the corner of the booth.
Was this after? So this conversation is after he was yelling at you on the phone?
This is in like 2013 or 14.
Okay, so this is
like
after.
years later.
Okay.
And the only reason he was there was because they started running a repossession show at the same time in an adjacent hotel.
Okay.
And then they could have the synergy of having a tow trucks there.
Gotcha.
So
gotcha.
it became one show kind of fed off the other, and
Gotcha.
It fed more off the tow show than the tow show did off it. And he came and he sat down. I sold like 45 minutes ago on this deal, and he sat there the whole time.
Okay.
And I got done with my deal, and I walked over. I was like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Hey," he goes, "I was walking by and I heard your voice and it sounded familiar." And he said, "Son of a bitch, it was you." And he said, he said, "I want to apologize."
No kidding.
He's like, "We figured out after you were gone that you were right about a lot of the shit you said." Because I always told him, I was like, "Dude, St. Louis is a tough market, man. You can't handle shit like you do somewhere else. It's you can't run in this market like you guys have been running."
Yeah.
And he's like, he sat there for like 10 minutes and we talked, and he's like, "I should have listened to you, and this person fucked us and that person fucked us, and it's looking back on it, you were actually trying to help us even though we were fighting about it.
Mm-hmm.
You were right about almost all of it."
Well, at least you had man enough to own up to it.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
And then he's like, "Yeah, why don't we get dinner?" And then I never saw him again after that.
Gotcha.
He called me and he's like, "Oh, I got some shit to do," and it's just But that's the one thing I do respect out of the whole deal is like, hey, we were wrong. I'm man enough to admit it.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is. But in retrospect, I think the only reason that he did that was the company I was working for was kind of in the space. Hold on a second. Let me text him something. Was kind of in the space, in the repossession space.
Okay.
And that's kind of how we met. And I was under the impression they weren't getting into it, and they had gone in kind of that direction, never told me, which didn't bother me because I didn't want any part of it anymore.
Okay.
And I think that he was thinking that if he didn't somehow have some sort of amicable relationship with me, I could wreck them again.
So maybe he wasn't that standard.
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
have an alternative.
Well,
either way,
I try to give the guy the benefit of the doubt.
For
because,
sure.
At their core, most people are good people.
Yeah, I'd agree.
It's like when these kids do this repossession shit and they get all pissed off. Like, oh, these motherfuckers. Like, no, you got to understand. People want to do the right thing.
For sure.
But sometimes they just get jammed up, and it's like, well, if they're going to run with a car, it's like, it could be the last thing they have. It could have lost the house and everything.
Yeah.
This is this is wheels, and they can't afford to get more wheels.
Mm-hmm.
People want to do the right thing, and just most people want to do the right thing. There are some sociopaths out there like, we're gonna kill people and shit. We don't care. But yeah, so
that was 2000. So 2011, you shut down the gates. You kicked them out. What'd you do with that lot?
Gave it to that
kids?
That kid George. That
okay.
I told him to start a towing company.
He took it over, and
he ran out of that one. Then he took over the neighbors, and because they were kind of like these deals, but they had gated corrals behind them.
Okay.
And he took over the neighbors deal too, and he was renting both of them. And then and then the landlord kicked him out because it looked like a junkyard.
Oh.
He's like, "You got to go, George. You got to clean this up or go." Like, "I'll go." He goes, "It's not gonna look better than this." Yeah. So from there, there's like this window from like 11 when that ended till 15 when I got here to town that just like.
So Mike called you up and was like, "Chris, you need to get down here."
Well, no, what happened was, so in 11, when that deal ended,
Uh-huh.
my girlfriend got really scared. She's like, "Oh shit, there's no money coming in anymore."
Oh.
And I had money
Yeah.
in the bank that she didn't know about because she was a spender.
Okay.
And she's like, "Oh shit." So by November, she was gone.
That's,
Like 2 weeks before Thanksgiving.
you guys were together for a minute, right?
We were from like 98 until 2011.
That sucks.
Yeah, and I was footing the bill and everything.
That sucks.
Everything.
Yeah.
New car every 2 years, all the shit. So yeah, she bolted, and it's kind of when I started figuring out how to streamline my life, because it's like,
Okay.
it's not that she took care of me and I needed her to take care of me. She took care of me because I had so much shit going on.
You were working. You were, yeah, for
But
sure.
I didn't need her to take care of me.
For sure. Yeah.
So yeah, she bolted, and then I spent time consulting. I went to work with a buddy of mine who owned a towing company. I was supposed to be there for like 3 or 4 weeks, training people. I stayed there for 2.5 years.
Doing repos or just tows?
Running a fucking tow truck.
Okay.
Because I didn't know what to do. I had
lost.
I had no clue what to do.
Gotcha.
It's like, well, you know what? I can do this. And he had a guy out that had like a knee injury or some shit, and it's like, and this is when I was insuring towing companies. So I was in the business of insuring towing companies, and I was friends with all these fucking guys that own towing companies.
Gotcha.
And this buddy Chris of mine I went to work with, him and I had known each other since I started the repossession agency. We'd known each other forever. And he was working for the company that he ended up buying out.
Okay.
So I spent from like the middle of 2012, because I didn't do shit from November till the middle of 2012, but drink.
Okay.
And I mean all the fucking time.
Like hard or beer? Like, what'd you drink?
It's tequila. It's a miracle I didn't fucking kill someone. It's a miracle I didn't kill someone in a DUI accident or choke the fuck out of someone, because I was so angry.
Wow.
And I came through Chris's lot one day, and we were just bullshitting because I was heading home, and I'm like, "The fuck's going on right here?" He's like, "Oh, this kid's out and all this bullshit and da 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 and all this crap," and I left and I called him. I said, "Hey," he said, "why don't you get me some uniform shirts? I'll just come in there, hang out for a couple weeks, find somebody. I'll just train them.
Yeah.
We'll just get like another guy or two. We'll train them from nothing."
Yeah.
He's like, "You serious?" I'm like, "Yeah." Okay. He called me back like 45 minutes later. He goes, "Are you serious about that shit?" I'm like, "Yeah." I said, just get a truck cleaned up and get me some uniforms. I'll just come in there."
Okay.
And like the next Monday I showed up and
just gave you something to do again. Purpose.
yeah, just gave me something to do. And it was kind of flexible enough where I could still insure towing companies.
Okay.
So it kind of worked out and consumed a bunch of my time. And we got one guy in there and trained him, and then I just never left.
Gotcha.
Just hung out there, and then I left there and went and helped another couple buddies with another towing company.
And were you doing the training?
I was still doing that too.
Okay.
So I'd go out and I'd go to the tow show, or in Orlando, or I'd go to Baltimore, or they'd fly me out to, a Jag Land Rover deal or a McLaren deal, or, it's like when I moved out here, I was down south working on Lamborghini when they got VW Group, which that's part of VW Group. So yeah, I was kind of doing all that. And then Mike bought that car in Chicago in
the Corvette or his red car? Or did he
the
buy
Maserati.
The Maserati. That's right.
Yeah.
He bought burgundy one, right?
It's green,
Green,
blue, something like that. He bought that Quattroporte in Chicago, and he puts a deal out on Facebook, and I wasn't even on Facebook at the time.
Okay.
And he's like, "Hey, I bought this car in Chicago. Somebody want to drive it out for me?" And my sister saw it, my twin sister.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Hey, why don't you call Chris? I'm sure he'd drive it out. He's not doing anything."
Okay.
So Mike calls me. He's like, "Hey, I got this car. What do you think?" I said, "Well, I think you should have bought a different car, but I'm not a fan."
Of course you did.
And
And you haven't talked to him in how long?
oh no, I mean no. Mike and I, we probably talked like, I don't know, once a year.
Okay. So
And if I remember correctly, I think he'd been in St. Louis like within 6 or 9 months of that, and we saw each other. We had breakfast
Gotcha.
at one of the hotels. So he bought this car in Chicago, and I fly up there with one of my buddy's nephews, and we drive it back to St. Louis.
Okay.
It's like, let me just get the car to St. Louis, and I'll figure out getting it the rest of the way out.
Gotcha.
And I left town like 4 o'clock on a Thursday morning.
From Chicago?
No, from St. Louis. Just got in that son of a bitch at 4 a.m. Thursday morning. I was rolling in here at 4 p.m. Friday.
So you just drove the whole thing? You just drove it here?
I went straight from St. Louis to Flagstaff, Arizona in one shot. Only thing I did was stop for fuel. I never had to worry about a bathroom break because I was running the car so hard it was making 175 miles to a tank.
Wow.
I'd pull in, I'd put the hose in the car, I'd go in, I'd use the restroom, get a cup of coffee, come out, and just give it hell the whole way out.
Flying.
I'm
going to test this car for you.
Oh, I still got pictures. I mean, I was sending pictures. I was sending Mike pictures for now. We're going like 135, 140 through Texas. It's like, no big deal.
No big deal.
No,
But that car could handle it. That's a badass car.
I drove 600 miles of that.
Okay.
In the rain and snow.
No kidding.
Leaving Flagstaff.
And that's only a two-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I came into Flagstaff that night at like 11 o'clock at night.
Okay.
I don't know how far it is, but so it's like 4 a.m. to 11 p.m. And this is when my eyes give me trouble. I can't really see that good. And I roll into Flagstaff, and I go in the front desk. I'm like, hey, I got this car out here that doesn't have a license plate. Is that going to get towed? Because in St. Louis, they tow shit like that. They just fucking tow it.
Gotcha.
And it had a temp tag behind the window, but it was tinted.
Okay.
And they're like, no, nobody does that shit out here. What kind of car is it? We'll keep an eye on it. I was like, it's just like this blue-green Maserati. And the guy's like, you're driving a Maserati? I'm like, yeah, why? He goes, it's going to snow like a foot in the morning. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Oh, you'd been stuck.
I'm like, when? He goes, about 7 a.m.
And it's 4 a.m. at this time?
It's 11 p.m.
Oh, it's 11 p.m.
I said, wake me up at 4. Went up, took a shower, unpacked what I needed to wear. Next morning, packed my bag. So all I had to do was just take another shower in the morning, get dressed, and leave.
Okay.
Get up at 4 o'clock. I'm at the gas station across the street by 4:15, 4:20. I pull up, and there's this guy pumping diesel in this like 97 model F350.
Okay.
And he looks over, he's shaking his head. I'm like, dude, I already know it's fixing to snow. That's why I'm fucking gone when this thing gets filled up. Got on the highway, and I hauled ass as fast as I could out of Flagstaff, and it was snowing. It was already snowing, and I was going like 120 in the snow leaving town.
That's so scary.
It was, oh, Jesus Christ. But then I left Flagstaff at like, I don't know, 4, call it 5 a.m. by the time I got on the road and got out, and I was rolling in town here at 4 p.m.
Oh, wow. Usually that's like a 14-hour drive.
It wasn't.
No, it was not.
Nope. I remember like one of the last fuel stops I made was down well south of the bay, and I pulled into this gas station, and I'm pumping gas, and this guy pulls in next to me with this Ford Escape, and he's looking at me. He goes, "You want to race?" I'm like, "Yeah, we can do that."
Yeah, we can do that.
He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "You passed me out there on the highway like I was going backwards." I said, "Oh, that's why the truck looks familiar." I said, "You were in left-hand lane going 65, and I passed you on the right-hand side going like 125. He goes, "Yeah, that wasn't real cool." I'm like, "Well, stick around," because I said, "I'm going to go up here on this fucking entrance ramp. I'm going to make a statement when I leave this fucking place." I got up on the entrance ramp.
Of course you did.
I was sideways down the entrance ramp in Mike's car, running the piss out of it. So I rolled into town here, and I mean, shit, went to Mike's. That's when Mike was living over on the canal in that house his dad lives in now.
Yeah.
Got in town, took a shower, and we went out that night, and I was here until, that was Super Bowl Sunday weekend of 2015.
Okay.
And we just spent the weekend catching up and drinking and going out, and we just got to talking about flipping houses.
Was he flipping houses at this time?
No, he was just an agent.
Okay.
But he was selling to a bunch of investors.
Okay.
And he's like, man, these guys are making a truckload of money.
Okay.
So we just started talking about flipping houses, just started talking about it. And we just kept talking about it more and more and more. And then we watched Super Bowl. And then I was catching a red eye on Sunday night, go back home, talked about it all the way down to SFO.
Okay.
And then he let me out. And then I got in the airport and I called him on the phone. We kept talking about it. And then the next morning I was in St. Louis and we were talking about it. 6 weeks later, I was coming back into town in a moving truck.
Packed up. And
went home. I checked out on everything. I was like, okay. I'm done. I'm fucking done with St. Louis. I got to get out of here. Because I always knew I would leave St. Louis and move to a small town. I just figured I'd move to like Columbia, because by this time I had an affinity for Columbia because it was a small town.
Okay.
Because I was visiting all these small towns when I was repossessing cars. Like, man, this would be cool living in a small town. You drive through them at night, and it's kind of like Napa is right now. It's like a goddamn ghost town at night.
It is a ghost town.
And that's kind of what those rural Missouri towns are like at night. It's like, this would be kind of cool living in a town like this. So I figured I'd either do that or I'd live at Lake of the Ozarks. Okay. And I'd just be a Lake Ozark Hoosier. And
does the family still have that house?
Oh yeah. My dad still has a house down there, but when I was going down, I had a condo down there.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, and actually, he still has that same house that he had then.
So what was your guys' first flip here in Napa? Do you remember?
Post Street, 427 Post.
427 Post Street.
Mm-hmm.
And how many have you guys done?
I don't know.
Quite a bit, huh?
Mm-hmm.
What was your most extensive one? Is that Franklin?
Randolph.
Randolph. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. That's the one where the only thing we kept was
a sliver of the foundation.
No, we bought that one. That was an earthquake damaged house.
I remember.
That was on a brick foundation.
Yeah.
That's the one we jacked it up, tore the foundation out, put a foundation under it, set it down, and then bolted it back down to the foundation. And then we took the back wall off of it and then part of the south-facing wall.
Yeah.
Or no, the entire south-facing wall. So the only thing we kept was the wall that faced due east and the one that faces north, and then part of the floor. We took the roof and everything off that house.
I remember when you guys were in the middle of that thing, and you sold it off market.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a gorgeous house when it was done.
I mean, that was like rebuilding an engine through the muffler.
And so you had no construction background when you came and started doing this.
My dad financed a construction guy back in St. Louis.
Okay.
And I had always kind of been around it because my dad also owned a chunk of ground at Lake of the Ozarks that him and his father developed.
Okay.
My dad bought it, and then he had my grandfather develop it.
Okay.
So I was always around it coming up.
Gotcha.
And being a mechanical guy, it wasn't that hard for me to make the transition.
Okay.
We actually hired Mike Sr. as a consultant for like a year and a half, 2 years.
Okay, because he was a contractor for like one of the best.
He's
right?
forgotten more about construction than a lot of people ever know.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, he did really small stuff, like you go to Florida and rebuild all the Marriott hotels after a hurricane.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just nothing.
Just small stuff.
Nothing
Just
shit.
little
Yeah,
stuff.
Nothing,
yeah.
Nothing. But yeah, I mean, so he was actually here trying to be retired, owned that winery at the time, and then was flipping houses with his buddies. He's like, I don't want to flip houses anymore.
Okay.
So it kind of timed out perfectly because Mike and I were getting into it. So we just took his crew.
Gotcha.
Then we paid him a retainer, and then he'd help me out. He'd come by the project an hour or two a day and kind of point me in the right direction. And once I figured out all of like the earthquake stuff, and how to read plans, it's not that difficult.
And now, did you swing a hammer at all? Or you just manage?
With this bad eye, there's no way in hell I could hit a nail.
Gotcha.
There's no depth perception.
How is it blind? Are you blind in your eye?
Well, from having the high blood pressure for all those years, I had a blood clot go up in a retinal vein.
No shit.
Yeah, and that was in like 2014.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's
this is after your driving, because would that have affected you driving with getting your license, class A?
Oh, I don't have a Class A. I've got a show in Missouri. All you need is chauffeurs.
Okay.
In Missouri, you can drive all the way up to a air brake straight truck under 26,000 on a chauffeur's license.
Okay.
That's all I have, and I keep a Missouri license in case I do it out here. They can't say anything.
Gotcha.
They can't regulate me on the California stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. So it doesn't affect your getting any of that stuff.
But when I have to take the eye test, my peripheral over here is kind of messed up, so I got to kind of. What I got to do is I have to go to the retinal specialist and get a shot in it.
Okay.
And then about a month later, I'm doing my renewal of my driver's license.
So you got it planned out.
I got it planned out.
Very systematized.
Yeah. But there's no way in hell I could swing a hammer.
And how many guys were you managing? Because it was like 12 guys at one time, right?
Oh no, we never had that many.
No?
I mean, if you count like the plumber and the HVAC guy and all that stuff, yeah. I mean, we had a bunch of guys. We had 4 guys on the crew.
Okay. Good guys, though.
I had 4 guys in the crew.
I thought you had a good crew.
We did, but everyone's a craftsman until they have to prove it.
Gotcha. Okay.
I mean, it's just, it's hard for me because I'm a particular person.
Yes.
I'm a detail person.
Yes.
And I mean, having done the repossession thing, listen to that generator out there. It's almost like it's running out of fuel.
It'll go forever.
Oh, okay. After having done the repossession thing and actually run the trucks and having to talk with people about how to do it, and like, oh, I can do that shit, and then it's like, no, you can't. It's like, I can do it. I've done it.
Yeah.
I can show you how to do it, but don't tell me you can do it. And when you're on a job site and you're having to say, okay, well, would it make more sense to do it this way? Oh, no. It's like, let me explain this to you, because it would. Trust me.
When you're telling carpenters how to do their job.
I'm a picky son of a bitch. I'm a nitpicky son of a bitch, but I want things a certain way. I want the flooring in a straight line.
But that's what made your houses. I remember the first house that I don't remember the address, but I remember walking into it and
where was it?
I don't remember. It was north. I think it was north.
By Fuller Park? Palmer.
No, it wasn't Palmer. Yes, it was Palmer. Yes.
The one that had a little garage behind it. Little gray one.
Maybe David Sarita was the agent. Did you ever have him as your agent?
No.
Maybe it was a different house. I could have swore it was your flip.
But
I remember going into this house. I don't remember which one it was. I want to say it was North Napa. I don't remember that. It was my first year. So I got into real estate 2015, right when you guys were doing this. So it had to be 2015. 16.
Was it a ranch house? Or was it a 2-story?
It was 2-story.
It was Tanglewood Way.
Tanglewood, yes.
4427 or something like that.
Yes,
Tanglewood Way.
It was Tanglewood. Yeah. Yes, it was that part of town. Yes.
Yep.
And I remember walking through there and going, this is not a flip. This is a renovated property. Like the quality of it was so good because you could tell, especially, that time I'm getting in a house, a lot of people, I'm going to flip houses.
Mm-hmm.
You go, this house is flipped. And then I walked into yours. I'm like, this house is renovated. Like it was done right.
Okay. So a lot of folks want to do this shit.
Yeah.
And they don't think about it long term. This is a small town.
Very.
And when we started out in this endeavor, I had every intention of staying here, come hell or high water. I wasn't going to leave because I liked it here.
Gotcha.
I still do. And I didn't want to be 7 or 8 years down the road and someone's talking shit about one of my houses. Like, live on 123. 123 Smith Street. Oh yeah, I did that house. Oh, you did. Oh yeah,
you're the why.
The flooring's coming up, or the mirrors came off the walls, or the shower's leaking. I didn't want any of that.
Yeah.
And that's the reason we retained Mike Sr.
Gotcha.
Was I needed him to get me through this.
Gotcha.
And I needed the relationship with the city. I needed the relationship with the inspectors. And there's a lot of stuff that Mike and I butt heads on. Like, we don't need to go through all that. Yeah, we do.
And that's probably what makes you guys a good partnership.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, I am not going to turn out a turd house. I will not do a house before I turn out a turd house. It's
all of your guys'
not how I'm wired.
Yeah, they were immaculate, and then they would be staged like perfect and very, very well done. So what led you into that to Airbnbs?
Well, okay, let me back up. So 427
Yes.
Post Street, the first house we ever did.
Yeah.
That was one of those elevated houses in the floodplain. You know where Post Street dead ends up by the river?
Yes.
It's right there between Juarez and the river.
Yes.
So everything was termite damage.
Oh.
They were elevated, so we couldn't do anything with bottom level. We were
Yeah.
going to maybe jack it, and then it was going to take forever. I put so much lumber in that house, in that lower level.
Mm-hmm.
Pest inspector inspected that house, said it was the only house he ever inspected that had no pest damage.
Wow.
He could not find pest damage anywhere in the house because we fixed it all.
Gotcha.
So, that kind of set the tone of what we were going to do.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of money on lumber, but we got a bunch of money out of the house.
Yeah.
It came out cute as hell. So what got us into Airbnb was we bought one of the licensed units.
Yeah.
And it was listed, and I wasn't going to pay what she wanted through the realtor, and the listing was fixing to expire, so I called her directly, and I offered her a number on it.
Gotcha.
And she didn't like the number, and the listing expired, and she still didn't like the number, and that's all I was doing. But I was the only buyer on the house because the house was a pile of shit.
Gotcha.
It was a bomb, and it was run poorly.
Was this your 3-bedroom?
This is Elm Street.
Elm Street, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous house now.
Oh,
yeah.
fuck yeah. Jesus, if you...
Isn't it 3 master suites?
Yeah, 3 master suites.
Yeah.
We put a ton of money in that house.
Yeah.
We put $250,000 in that house.
Did you?
Yes. By the time we did the backyard and everything, I had to show you pictures of that thing one day, how it started out and how it, you know how it ended.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got the house bought direct.
Okay.
And we ran it through the end of 2016.
Because you guys were going to flip it, right?
Yeah, it was gonna be a high dollar flip.
Licensed Airbnb flip. Okay.
Got the license transferred and all that shit. Ran it through the end of 16, and then right after the first year, we took it offline, and I put my guys on it, and I went in there one day and I took a spray paint can. And I wrote March 27th on the wall. And they're like, "What's that?" I'm like, "That's the day this thing's done."
Gotcha.
Not we're getting it inspected. That's the day this thing is furnished and is done. Period. End of conversation.
And this is December?
No, this was in, I think, like the 7th or 10th of January.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was a ton of engineering done to that house.
Yeah, because it wasn't 3 master suites. Yeah.
That house was a bus wreck.
Did you guys hit your deadline?
No. But there's a reason. So, we had to move so many walls in that house. I mean, I can remember cutting holes in the floor like this big and then getting down there and the guys would be shoring them up and we'd have to dig a footing through the floor in the crawl space.
Okay.
Pour the footing, get inspected and all that shit. And it's like every time we turned around, we were coming across something different.
Okay.
And I walked in one day and there's like sheetrock off over here and sheetrock off over there. It's like, and it's one of those old houses that's not insulated because a lot of these houses in Napa are not insulated.
Yeah, all the Bel Air house, all of them.
Yeah.
A lot of them, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, I walked in, I was like, just take all the sheetrock out of the house. They're like, what? I'm like, just take it all out. I have to know what's in this house.
Gotcha.
I can't do this. Because it was driving me out of my mind.
Okay.
Because it's this thing with me. It's like, it's going to be old drywall and new drywall. It's like, fuck this. It's just easier to take it all out and just put all new drywall in. Because I was looking down the road. I'm like, okay, the time it's going to take to make this, just take it all out.
Just take it in.
And they one day took all the drywall out and the dump trailer was out in the driveway. And I was hauling like 2 or 3 loads of the dump every day, getting rid of the shit. And then we had it to a shell. It was down to a shell. I think the only drywall we didn't take out was the box that's in the skylight.
Okay.
Because there was no reason to take it out. Because you could go make that corner real easy. Rewired the whole house.
Okay.
So the panel was on the one side. So then as soon as you tore it out, you're right in the back of the panel. It's like, okay, we're going to rewire the whole house.
Perfect.
Because there was some weirdo shit in there. Replumbed the whole house. It started raining. And I came in one day.
Yeah.
And there was water. You know that lower bedroom that's over there?
Yes.
That used to be the garage years ago.
Was it?
Yes. I talked neighbor across the street. That house had been through like 5 renovations before we bought it. And that detached garage.
Yeah.
No, if you look at that house, you can tell where the original garage was. It's a spot that has no windows in it.
Okay.
So then they altered that and made that a bedroom, bathroom.
Yeah.
Made that the master. Came in and there was that much water down there. I'm like,
what the
holy hell. A root had grown through the foundation about that big.
Okay.
Through the footing.
Footing, yep.
I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, we got to figure out where the water's coming in, guys.
Yeah.
And they just started digging around the house. They only dug about 10 minutes and they found it because they started right at the corner.
Yeah.
One guy started digging this way, one guy started digging that way, and it was right in the corner. I mean, they were on immediately.
What was it?
A root.
Oh, okay.
Off the neighbor's tree, over the years had grown in there, penetrated the wall, and then just started opening the wall up slowly.
Gotcha. Okay.
So when it started raining, it ran down. It's like, oh my God, we got lucky as hell on this deal.
That you found it then, not when you were done.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we got it. We got the house done, put it on the market, and got it running. It was making great money. Listed it for I think $1,395.
I remember that. Yeah.
It went into contract with the listing agent.
Okay.
And her business partner had a stroke or something.
Oh.
She had to back up on it. And then it went in contract with somebody else for less money, but we were still going to make a bunch of money on it.
Gotcha.
And then, long story short, that deal went away, and we just like, you know what? Let's just keep running it. It's not hurting us.
And that was your first one, right?
That was the first one. And we had no idea how much money the house was making.
Okay.
We had no clue because it was just money in, money out.
Yeah.
It was coming in the account. And then I sat down to work on some accounting stuff one day, and I started going back. And I think we've been running like 90 days or 120 days. I'm like, oh my God, this place is making some money.
Okay.
I'm like, no, we're not selling this thing.
Yeah, it's a little gold mine, right?
We were thinking we're gonna make $500,000 on the flip. Like, where this be a $500,000 flip? This is great. Shit, keep that 500.
We're gonna make some bank over the years.
Yeah, and it's it's a great house. It rents up well. The bachelorette parties love it.
Yeah.
It's
Always great location.
Oh,
yeah.
You always know when there's a bachelorette party in there because the towel bar's been pulled off the walls. They go to that time, and meet Mr. Right Now. Something happens in the bathroom and the fucking towel bar gets pulled off the wall. I don't know. I mean, they're drunk and they're falling down, or there's activities or what. But
and so, how many do you guys have now? How many Airbnbs do you guys have now?
We got a couple down in Vallejo. Let me see here. We got 4 here in town. 6
altogether.
Mm-hmm.
And so, right now with the COVID, high and dry.
Yeah, I mean, the city in their infinite wisdom has shut everything down, which in my mind is foolish. But I mean, what do you do?
Yeah. But even just people, you have less of a pool of people that are even willing to come and travel during this whole.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the deal I was talking about with Dickies. The city and the county can't get out of their own way in this deal.
Yeah.
It's just they just need to open up shop.
And as a small business or as a business owner, do you get any relief for the Airbnbs or anything? Yeah. Did you guys qualify for any of that stuff? Or
I'm sure we did.
Okay, you guys didn't even try.
Yeah, I mean, we tried for the SBA stuff, but it's just like, whatever.
That money ran out. It was given to the big corporations, all that BS.
Yeah. Man. So you do what you do. You hunker down.
Yeah.
You hunker down and you reduce spending, reduce all the expenses. I mean, we've got no need for our housekeepers.
Yeah.
So I mean, we had to lay all them off.
Yeah.
I just bought 2 new housekeeping vans. They're parked over there.
Yeah, you just set them up.
Yep.
Rigged them out.
I think one's got 900 miles, one's got 800 miles on it.
Yeah.
So we got, those are the 2 new ones. So those are parked over there. And the other one is, over a year old. It's got like 8,000 miles on it. So everything's just parked. There's nothing to do.
And what are you learning from this? Like, because no one could have saw what was going to happen.
It's not, this is going to be a good learning lesson for everyone in the country right now.
Yeah, for sure.
This was a stress test of sorts, and we all failed this.
Yeah.
And folks who get emotional, well, this is in my lifetime and probably your lifetime, these are the most interesting times in history in our lifetimes. I think we can probably both agree on that.
I would agree for sure.
And everyone needs to be paying attention to everyone else around them, because people are writing their true stories right now on social media.
Very, very vocal, and it's like, whoa.
If they're inclined to be maniacs, they're being maniacs.
Yeah.
If they drink the Kool-Aid, they drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
If they're workers, they're working.
Yeah.
So, if you're a business owner and, you're going to have people working for you, and, say you're out of work, it's like, oh, let's hire Matt, but Matt's being a maniac on social media. Matt may be a cool guy, but I don't want Matt's mania in my place.
No way.
So a lot of folks think that they're just expressing themselves, and they're actually doing themselves harm. There are people that we went to high school with that I thought had their shit together.
Yeah.
And they are coming fucking unwound.
In what way?
Just, they cannot handle this. It's like, oh, my husband lost his job. Well, it's like, do you want to talk about what we have on the line up here financially, and
you guys have some,
what our overhead is?
Yeah.
It's like, what you're doing isn't doing any good for you.
Yeah.
It's doing zero good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Best thing you can do is keep your shit together.
Yeah.
Go out. If you got to walk 4 miles a day and be in the sun, do it.
Yeah.
I don't care what you got to do. If you're in a position where your job's going to go away, you need to figure out how to keep your mental composure.
100%.
Because these people are coming unhinged. I'm in that Incline Village Facebook page.
Yeah.
Those folks up there, I mean, I've spent a lot of time up there, and there's some really, really nice folks up there, but they are a little isolationist community.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they can't. They it's like they won't leave their house, and all they do is watch the news.
Oh, that's the worst.
And it's just,
when all this first started, I did some videos on mental toughness. Like now's the time to do.
I remember that.
Mental toughness.
Yeah.
And I found myself even, it's like, just because if you are a worker or if you're used to doing stuff and then all of a sudden you're told not to, and I sheltered in place. Like I didn't.
We were
going to
do this right before that started.
Right before
and you're
it
like,
started.
not doing it.
I'm like, you know what? Let's see what's going on here. Let's
Because I was going to drive over there to the house.
Yeah, I'm like, let's see what settles. And so I was going stir crazy too. You know, I'm like, man. And so I started doing burpees every day.
Yeah.
So every day I started doing burpees and exercising a little, and I'd go out in the sun, and it was like, okay. And I started reading a lot, and that was good too. And I picked up, and I was like, I need to get some history books. I want to see. Like,
you got nothing but time on your hands?
Yeah.
Why not?
I was like, what's going on? Like, history repeats itself. And right now is a very strange time in history because we have the virus, but the virus, the way that it's being played, and just, it's very strange. It's weird. If you look at everything, it's like, this isn't making sense to me. Like,
but you have to look at all of it. And
you have to look at all of it.
That's what most of the people are failing to do. They're not looking at all of it. Folks are going to see what they want to see.
For sure.
And that's really unfortunate. And in this, it goes back to what I was saying. If they're inclined to be maniacs, they're going to be maniacs. So if they want to see that wearing a mask is going to save your life, they don't want to see the follow-up CDC set, the CDC and the WHO put out that healthy people probably shouldn't be wearing masks because they're more inclined to get an infection. They don't want to see that article. They want to keep going on the previous one. Yeah. And it's just.
But even with that going, the masks aren't good for you. Then the masks are good for you. And then, well, maybe, the masks, first it was the masks aren't good for you. Don't buy them. Yeah. Then it was, masks are good. We should have everybody wear them.
But don't buy them because the medical field needs them.
And then, having the mask on is probably not the best for you, especially if you're asthmatic and you can't breathe. And, it's like, so and for me, it's like there's just too much communication, and there's too many people.
It's too much information.
Way too much information, and we don't trust our sources. No, that's the biggest thing is we don't trust our sources. We're questioning the WHO, which I question because it's like, who is this entity that's privately owned telling our country what we should do? Yeah. That to me is like, well, you want to talk about, they say the New World Order, and it's like, I don't know about all that, but I can tell you that no one elected any of them from our country, and they're dictating what we're doing.
Exactly.
So I would question that, but that's just me,
I had a gal we went to high school with, lives in Southern California now, call me. She's like, how are you getting through this? I'm like, I'm not watching TV. Yeah. It's like, I didn't spend 20 years repossessing cars to get taken out by the sniffles. It's like, I worked in everything. Yeah. I can remember going out and I had a staph infection in my ankle. And my ankle, I'm not shitting you, was that big around. Oh, wow. And I worked in that son of a bitch for 2 weeks. Wow. And got ahead of the game. Went home on a Friday. Took my boots off and told my girlfriend, take me to the hospital. Cut me open. I was back in the truck on Tuesday. Wow. I didn't spend 20 years dealing with all that shit to worry about this. Yeah. It's not how I'm wired. Yeah. So, I mean, people can say, you're putting your head in the sand. No, I'm not. I mean, I've got friends back in St. Louis who are actual medical doctors. Yeah. Not a chiropractor, not a holistic medicine expert, actual MDs. Yeah. And when I've got friends who are MDs, I mean, I had a friend sew up my finger I almost cut off in its basement one time in a wheel of a 355 Ferrari. When I talk to those guys and they're like, hey, wearing the mask is a good thing, but if you don't understand anything about sterilization protocols, it doesn't mean shit. Nothing. So do what you want to do. Because if you're wearing a mask or if you're not wearing a mask, you're going to get it. Yeah. We've got an operation to run here, and that's my concern. Yep. That's what I'm going to run, and it's all I care about.
And I see it, for me, I'd consider myself, just an independent contractor. Like, I don't have much overhead, but I have overhead. And if I don't produce, I don't get any money. I don't have unemployment because I don't have anybody that's employed me. Yeah. And I look at it and I go, well, the ultra rich and or the big companies, corporations, they get bailed out. They're labeled essential. They can stay working, right? And then you have the lower class, which I just saw a guy post where he was talking to a kid where he's like, I'm making the most money I've ever made in my life.
On unemployment?
Because I have unemployment, plus I'm getting the additional $600, plus I'm working a side hustle for cash.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm making more money. And so you see just the middle getting wiped out, and the middle is what's suffering. And then so when we see the restaurants or the art gallery, those people aren't getting bailed out.
No.
And, you know, they have to open their doors because they are going to get wiped out. And when all of this is said and done in 6 months, and the restaurants and small businesses and everything don't come back online, and those jobs are lost forever, and that many more people are now that more dependent on the government, like that is not a good thing. It's, in my opinion,
yeah.
Like that is scary.
Coming out of this is going to be interesting. I mean,
yeah,
I'm hoping that the American human spirit will persevere.
I hope so. I hope it rejuvenates it.
But it's like we also live in a cash flow society. I mean, that's essentially how we operate. I mean, if you try to go get a loan, what's cash flow look like?
Yep.
And when something like this happens, the cash flow stops, you got a crisis on your hands because everybody's really hand to mouth.
Yes.
And it's, you know, and the folks who are going to get through it are the people who have cash in the bank or they have cash reserves.
Yep.
And it's that simple.
Yep.
And the ones that can go lean like that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, personally, I live a very minimalist lifestyle.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike and I do that deal, you know, every day, and I'm always worried about what shirt to wear. It's like, did I wear that shirt last week? I only have like 9. I only have like 9 shirts, and most of them are First Form shirts because they're comfortable and they send them me free when I buy stuff.
For sure.
And you know, it's like guys like me, we can go fast and light really easy.
Yes.
I mean, I've got my apartment here, which is a nice apartment.
Yep.
Got a Ford pickup truck, my motorcycle. I mean, I don't really have a whole lot of expenses personally. So, I mean, if something like this has to go on for a year and I gotta live out of savings, I can do it personally.
Yeah.
But we still got a business to take care of.
Yep.
And a lot of folks aren't in that situation.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you see these kids that, not kids, but you know, these food service workers, the bartenders. There's some bartenders here in town that make 110,000 a year, but they're only reporting 40 of it.
Yeah.
But then they're out eating a $300 meal at their friend's place up Valley 3 nights a week, and they're in Tahoe 1 weekend a month.
Yeah.
And the money's all gone. And then something like this happens, like, shit, I need unemployment. It's like, well, you're making good money.
Yeah.
How do you not have cash? Well, it's the lifestyle.
I think people are going to, I think this will be this eye opener for me. Like, man, I thought I was good. I need to be better, you know, like, you know, and we're going to weather this storm and we're going to be fine.
It's a sobering event.
Yeah. It's like,
it's a long-winded sobering event.
Yeah. I'm like, I need to make sure I have plenty of reserves. I need to make sure that we have food and water. And cause you saw how fast the shelves, you know, that was just a snapshot of something truly bad was to happen. What if the supply chain did actually, something went down? You're screwed.
Did you see how much toilet paper we had in there?
I did. Yeah. I was impressed. It's like a bank load of.
So we were down to like 3 packages. And for folks that don't know, I mean, we have to maintain an inventory of stuff like paper towels and toilet paper
For your Airbnbs.
And the stuff we manage, because we manage other people's stuff too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have to have this stuff in inventory. We usually buy like a pallet at a time.
Okay.
That's just how we buy.
Yeah.
Well, I came in one day when this whole thing was spooling up and I was reading an article. I'm like, and it was the article about the toilet paper plant. Somebody had COVID at the toilet paper plant. I'm like, oh shit. And I told Robert, I'm like, go take everything out of your van. And I got in the work truck. I said, we're going to Costco. We got to stock up right now.
Okay.
Go over there. You can buy 2 things of toilet paper. I'm like,
God.
oh fuck. And we had like a whole truck, the
dolly
cart,
or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, just filled. And they come out like, you can't buy that. I'm like, we buy a pallet at a time. Like, you can't. Damn it. So then I said, what can we buy? You can buy 2 toilet paper, 2 paper towels. But they had 2 different brands of toilet paper. So we bought 2 and 2 and 2. Like, you can't do that. I said, no, that shit right there doesn't say that. So we ran up in front. I got Robert a membership. So then we bought 2, 2 and 2 on both of us.
Okay.
Took it out to the pickup truck. I put it in the pickup truck. I said, get in your van and go to Vacaville. Do it again. Come back here. Do it again. Go to Vallejo, do it again, and I want you to do that every morning and afternoon until we're stocked up.
Okay.
That's how we had to get stocked up.
Wow.
And I mean, people were just going out of their minds.
It was crazy.
And I can remember Mike's like, oh, it's not gonna be that big of a deal. It's like, I think we've got a problem here. I said, and I told him, I said, people are gonna get emotional, and this is gonna run out of control. And within 2 weeks, you're not gonna be able to find toilet paper. And I can remember Mike be like, oh, Jesus, you were right. I'm like, I am happy as hell I read that article that morning because I wouldn't have even had a clue.
Yeah, I was grateful that we were stocked up.
Yeah.
Like, so we just bought paper towels the other day, and we haven't bought toilet paper. We've been stocked up with toilet paper. Usually we have 2 big old things on hand of each.
Yep.
And so, but I remember calling the grocery store. I don't know if you saw the video where I went into my local grocery store, Rayleigh's, and the shelves were completely wiped out. And I was like, oh, I've never seen a store. And I worked 10 years in the grocery industry as grocery manager, ordering, managing the whole thing. And I'm like, I've never seen a store this wiped out, depleted, empty. And it was empty. And I don't know if you ever know this, but if you want to stock shelves, it's harder to actually stock empty shelves than it is to stock full shelves. Because when you have a full shelf, cut open the box, you're like, there's the product. Boom.
You know where it goes, yeah.
You have an empty, now you're going, okay, and now you have to stop and you have to look at every single tag to find it.
Figure out where that goes.
Okay, we'll put it up here. And so I'm like, okay, well, everyone's like, stay at home, shelter in place. And so I called, I told Mari, I was like, man, I should call the grocery store and see if we can get some people together and go stock our store, just random people.
Yeah.
Because my theory was, the more people that we can get to stock it, the faster they can reorder it, and the faster our community will be stocked. So our little village will be good. I'm thinking as a whole, okay, how can we do this to minimize our risk to people getting batshit crazy? And I called one of the stores that I worked at, and I was talking to the manager, and she's going, Matt, we can't get anything. Our warehouse is empty. And that scared the shit out of me. I was like, wow, that happened fast. It happened so fast. And then, they restocked, but now we're seeing still the meat shortage that's going to happen. I think 6 months from now, we're going to see some repercussions from what's going on right now that
we're going to see it in the real estate business.
We're going to for sure see it in the real estate business.
I mean, when we get past all of this so-called protection that the government's put in place with not paying rents, and as soon as they break everyone loose and these forbearances go away, the shit's going to hit the fan.
Yeah, I've been telling buyers that are like, oh, we should buy interest rates. And I'm like, I wouldn't buy. I would not buy right now.
I'd sit your ass in a rental.
Yeah, I would. And I tell them, I'm like, I would be right now. Patience is the name.
But hey, if you want to buy, I'll sell you something. That's not a problem.
Yeah. And even that, it's still hard for me. I'm like, I'll represent sellers right now. And it's easy for me to represent a seller. It's a lot harder for me to tell a buyer hey, you should buy this house, because my gut internally is it's not a good time.
Yeah.
I bought my first house in 2007, right before the crash.
Going into the nightmare.
And I reevaluated what I did, and then now that I'm in real estate, I looked at all of that data, and I'm like, that was a 2-year. So the market started going down early 2007, didn't hit bottom until late 2009, 2010. That was a couple years for that to play out before it started coming back up.
And it was almost like it was in slow motion.
Yeah. But for me, and I look at that, I'm like, my life never changed or was never affected during that, because I was working at the grocery store, making good money. I'd owned my house. I bought my house, and, we ended up short selling, getting rid of it, only because we listened to the news and we're like, oh, I guess we need to sell this
thing's
house.
Never going to come back.
It's never going to come back. And I was 25 at the time, 26. And so I'm going, why am I in this house that's upside down that I'm paying? And I paid way too much for it. So I was paying $3,200 a month on a house I would rent for $1,600. So first off, I should have just rented.
Yeah.
But I overbought for what I could afford monthly. And then the market crashed, and that house I think sold for $175,000 after I got out of it.
Yep.
But today, now that house would sell for $450,000, and I bought it for $375,000.
So you'd be up.
So I'd be up.
If it's a deal where you could financially weather the storm.
Yeah.
I mean, and when all that crap was going on, The one thing I never ever did was I never ever took money out of my house.
Yeah.
We did a renovation of the house in St. Louis. And no, I take it back. I got a HELOC on the house.
Okay.
But I never, I mean, you know, naturally with the HELOC you do it and then I paid it back.
Yeah.
But I mean, everybody was doing that. And it's
Everybody.
like, and that's the one thing I never had to worry about, because when the shit hit the fan, I sold all my cars.
Yeah.
I had like 9 cars. I sold all my cars and I bought like 3 BMWs for cash.
Mhm.
Like, I can keep these things alive.
Yep.
And I just drove those, didn't worry about anything.
Yep.
And I always had a roof over my head. I never worried.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, it's like people are like, how the hell are you not coming unglued? You know, what if you lose everything? What if I do?
What if you do? And that's the fear, is of loss of things.
Yeah. It's like if it happens, if it gets that bad and we lose everything, we lose everything.
Yeah.
But it's got to get really bad
Yeah.
before we lose shit.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm hopeful that more people are going to be proactive coming out of this.
I think it's an eye opener for a lot of people.
It's an eye opener for a lot of people, but what's unfortunate is Americans have very short memories.
They do. We do. I do.
You know,
Everybody does.
it's just, they just like, oh, it happened once, or, you know, I'll be ready this time.
Yeah.
You know, because there's folks that I grew up with that went through it in 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They saw it. They were there. And it's like, you can't live like it's not going to happen again. There is an obvious cycle.
Well, what's good for me is I haven't purchased apartments. My goal getting into real estate was to buy apartments. And, you know, my mindset was like, I'm going to buy as much as I can and leverage as much as I can to get as much as I can. Because the name of the game is to get as many as I can. So by the time I'm 60, 65, they're all paid off. And now I'm cash flowing. Well, if I would have started buying last year, the year before, super leveraged and all,
Be in trouble.
and now all of a sudden renters are going, I can't pay. And then the government's saying you can't kick them out.
You don't have to pay, and you can't kick them out. Yeah.
I'd be like, I'd be screwed.
And there's people that are. They're totally screwed.
Totally screwed.
And they're trying to liquidate stuff right now.
Mm-hmm. And so for me, it's like, it's a very good lesson that I'm learning without having to go through the financial hardship of it.
I mean, who would have thought 3 years ago, if somebody would have said, hey, there's a chance there could be an event where the government would tell people they don't have to pay rent. Nobody would have thought, well, I mean, unless you're here in California. I mean, anything's possible here. Nobody would have thought that there would ever be anything where they say you cannot make them pay rent and you can't kick them out.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're like, what?
It's like, no. Fuck no. That would never happen. Well, guess what? It's happened. It's happening right now.
It is.
And and these things get worse every time they happen. So, you know, if this event is a factor of 2 and you're planning for a factor of 2 for next event, you need to be planning for a factor of 10 for the next event.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I said, I'm a really, really proactive soul, and I don't let shit get to me.
Yeah.
I try not to get emotional about shit.
Yep.
And I'm actually a really emotionless soul, and that's why chicks can't stand to be around me. But like last summer with the fires,
Yeah.
they're going to turn the lights out for 48 hours. There's people coming unhinged.
There was. Yeah.
It's like, so what? It's not like we're in Florida and it's hotter than shit and it's humid. We're in Napa Valley and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And the power's not going to be out. Well, how am I going to keep my food cold? I don't know. Maybe not have a freezer of shit you're not eating.
Yeah.
Don't have all this stuff. Or go get a bunch of ice. Figure it out.
Yeah.
So it's like, these people here are maniacs. Now we got this. It's like, okay, you guys have had 60 days of time to yourself. Have you done any planning for fire season this year? Figure out how you're going to handle the lights going out again?
Yeah.
And people don't.
Well, you forget. They forget.
Yeah.
We forget. Like
Solano County. Oh, no, Solano County's always got crazy. It's that Nixle thing.
Well, I go into Harbor Freight now, and there is an abundance of generators.
Mm-hmm.
But during fire season, they were all out. So as I was building this trailer, I'm going in there, and they're all out. And I'm like, I don't need it for my damn house. Like, I can care less if my power's out for 48 hours. Yeah. It's actually pretty peaceful because it's super quiet, and you don't have the noise of,
everything.
Yeah. And so I'm like, cool, I can dig that. I'm trying to set up my damn podcast trailer, and you guys don't have
a generator.
A generator.
Yeah. It's kind of like in fire season.
Yeah.
It's air filters.
Yeah.
When we get done, I'll show you. I got a whole stack of air filters back there.
Okay.
Every property that we own or manage,
Okay.
there's boxes of air filters. Because I mean, we got to have them for
sure.
just for the course of doing business. But it's the same thing. It's masks and air filters during fire season. No one's ready. It's like, all right, I got to have furnace filters. It's like you could have bought them when they were cheap and stocked up on it.
Yeah, I always buy a year's supply of those. I'm
It's a
anal
short
at
memory.
changing those
It's
out.
a short memory. People don't care.
So what are you guys doing to prepare going forward? And what do you guys see the opportunity? Where's the opportunity out of all of this?
I mean, there has to be a downstroke on these prices.
Real estate wise. Yeah.
They're going to have to go down. The play is, catch something on the downstroke. Catch one or two in the downstroke, buy them, and let them come up.
Okay.
Buy,
Buy and hold. Are you guys thinking buy and hold? What is your?
I really don't want to get into doing flips. I like doing flips. It's a lot of moving parts, and I don't have the time to be out of the office, and it's so hard to find somebody that I could trust to run it.
And it's a lot of speculation too.
And I'm an anal retentive asshole, and I've got to make sure. Okay, it's like the casing or the baseboard is, it's not, it's fucked. Cut it right. But I mean, if a bunch of flip projects came up we can make money on, I'll go out and buy another diesel truck and a dump trailer. I don't care.
And now,
in a second.
Commercial real estate. Are you guys looking at that? Because that's going to crash. I think that's going to be
Commercial
the
real
first
estate
one to
is going to get a hammer to the head.
Yeah. Are you guys looking at any opportunities with something like that?
Commercial real estate has been on the skids for a while because of this retail push into the internet space.
Not only that, I had
look at how many shopping malls are vacant.
Big time. Well, so it's shopping centers, it's office spaces, because now people, companies, corporations don't need as much office space because they don't need to keep their paper. Everything's stored on a laptop or data in the cloud. So now they don't have to have storage. And so it's like, we can operate out of a smaller space. People are working remotely. So now, we don't need to have 20 desks. We have one little shared space that people can come in on.
Exactly.
And people can work from home.
I've been saying that since this deal started, when everyone was at home on Zoom.
Yeah.
I was on the phone with my mom and my brother and my dad, and I was telling them, I think it was my brother, because my brother's got his whole crew working from home. He bought out my dad's insurance agency. And I was talking to a young lady who's my handler.
Okay.
At my consulting client.
Okay.
Everything kind of runs through her, so I call her my handler. And that's a $1 billion company that's privately held.
Zoom?
No. They're doing all their shit over Zoom. The company, the towing deal that I do. And I told her, I said, it's going to be really interesting because they just built a big ass building, so I don't know how they're going to handle it.
Okay.
They were renting and they built a big facility, but they have a bunch of call centers. And I said it's going to be really interesting to see how this gets handled, because this is going to allow people to reduce the size of their brick and mortar.
Yeah.
So if they have 25 people in-house and they don't really need to be in the office, and you're in a city center, say you're an SF.
Yeah.
Well, we don't need to have those people come. This deal has been the test bed by which we are going to operate it
virtually.
They're going to make decisions on this experience.
Yeah.
And if they're in a big brick and mortar down at SF and they got a lease coming up for renewal, and they've just figured out that they can just take the human element and leave them in their domiciles and figure out who can be trusted to work remotely and who can't be.
Yep.
Ones that can be trusted are going to work remotely. The ones who can't trust it are either going to get fired or they got to come into the office every day.
Yep.
And then they can reduce the size of their brick and mortar. Beyond that, if there's talent out in Kansas, you own an operation here in SF, but there's a real talented guy in Kansas, and he'd be $175,000 a year job here, but he's 95 in Kansas.
Yep.
You're going to pay him 95 and leave his ass in Kansas.
Yep.
That's what's going to happen. So this commercial real estate is going to take another punch to the face, because folks that have leases, they're either going to get to the end of them or they're going to renegotiate them now, and they're going to get into a smaller space.
Yeah.
That's
what I think commercial is going to be the biggest one affected with all of this. And so I'm like, where's the opportunity with that?
That's a good question. Where is the opportunity? I don't think there is any.
Well, it's some opportunity is it's hard because now it's like, everyone's scared of the virus. So if we didn't have the virus, I'd be saying activities where people can go and interact face to face, because now you don't have it on with work, because a lot of people want that face to face. They want to go to the office.
Work is social.
Yeah, work is very social.
But see, if they're doing it over Zoom, they're still going to have a degree of that social component. And at the end of the day, they're going to spend more time in their community with their neighbors and their friends.
Yes.
But they're not going to have to spend 90 to 120 minutes behind the wheel each way in the commute.
Yes.
So their life is going to improve.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
They're going to gain time.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
and they're not making any more of that shit.
No.
I mean, once it's like that last 5 minutes, that shit's gone. We can't get it back.
Yeah.
So, realistically, if you're going from like Napa to SF and you're spending 90 minutes each way, and you're spending 8 hours, 11 hours of your day is really spent working.
Of your work week.
Of one day, because you got 3 hours in transit, you got 8 hours.
Yeah.
That's 11 hours of your day is gone.
Oh yeah,
on a work endeavor.
For sure.
If you can reduce that to 8 and maybe don't take a lunch, reduce it to 7, you just gained,
4 hours of your day.
Yeah, you can spend your kids,
and you're making the same amount of money. Your income just went up, essentially.
And if you have kids that are usually in daycare, they go to school, and it's going to be interesting to see how people adapt and they live their lives beyond this. Because, like, you got a mom who's proven she can work over Zoom.
Yeah.
Work remotely. So now what she does, all she's got to do is get her stuff done.
Yeah.
So she can actually split it up in blocks. She can get up, go to the gym in the morning if she wants to now.
Yep.
Take her kids to school.
Yep.
Come home, work.
Yep.
And then go get her kids from school, bring them home, get them doing their stuff, and work some more.
Yep.
One of my friends, Dennis, who worked for the company I consult for, he moved to, he was in Boston. He moved to Detroit. That's where his wife was.
Okay.
They were kind of in two different places. Well, he ended up moving to Detroit. He told me, he's like, I love it here. He goes, they end up getting more out of me nowadays, because he said, I'll get up in the morning, I'll take my kids to school, I'll come and I'll work, and I'll bring them home. And he said, I'll work till 9 or 10 o'clock at night.
I was going to say,
and he said they end up getting more hours out of me.
I was going to say that. Yeah. Companies will get from the good employees.
Yes. From the good employees.
From the good employees, the people that have like just that ethic, that are like, want to get it done. You'll get more out of those people, because they're like, well, I feel grateful that I can go take my kids, or I can go to my kids' practice now.
My life is as flexible.
My life is flexible. Flexibility, like when I quit the grocery industry, like that was the best decision I ever made in my life.
Yeah.
Was because for 11 years, I never had 2 days off in a row, because they were always split. I had a different schedule every single week. I'd go in at 11 o'clock in the afternoon one day, and then the next day would be 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then the following day would be 6 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
All over the place.
Nothing consistent.
Zero consistency. And I always remember telling Mari, I'm like, I will never have a kid while I work this job. I will never have a kid, because my dad used to take me to every single one of my football practices, not just my games. He would take me to my practice, and that was so valuable for me as a kid, because at the end of practice, he'd be like, Matt, you're so tough. You hit those kids, and you stuck those kids. And just that voice, I was probably freaking sucked. But he's telling me, you did so good. You did so good.
And he was there.
And all of a sudden I believed in it. It gives me this confidence. And I'm like, I want to give that to my kids. You know what I mean? And so I always told Mari, I'll never work. And quitting that job was the best decision I ever. Didn't have anything lined up. Didn't know what I was going to do. Only knew one thing, that I wasn't going to do that.
You're not going to do that anymore.
I said, I'm not going to do this the rest of my life.
Yep.
What are you going to do? I don't know, but I'm not doing this. I'll figure that part out.
There's a mental luxury, or a perceived luxury, in the flexibility. My buddy Dennis, before he moved to Detroit, he lived out in rural Mass, and he would commute in. He worked remotely a lot, and he'd commute in a couple of days a week.
Yep.
There was a point in time, like years ago, where I think it was the mother of his kids, and if Dennis watches this and I got it wrong, I have to apologize. She was like in Florida or something. Mm-hmm. He was down in Florida for like 2 or 3 months, and nobody knew shit. Nobody knew he was down there. I think he was like flying back for when he had to come in.
Okay.
And he was working remotely. And this is like before all the social media shit, so there was no way to know he was not in Mass.
Yeah.
He was wherever the hell she was, and he was getting his work done on the computer.
But the job was getting done, and the bosses were like, hey, we don't care.
So, let's say that, you're living in California, and you got one of these gigs, and you can work remotely, and you want to go spend a month on the East Coast with your family, you say, hey, I want to go spend a month on the East Coast with my family. I'm going to get my work done. And as long as you don't need to be in the office, you can go do that.
Yeah. So I think it's, out of this, I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities that come for people, but it's
people who get creative in how they live their life are going to have a good life.
Like, even me and Mari were like, man, the podcast trailer couldn't have been done at the best. I mean, I guess it could have been because it kind of sucked because I'd rather have it face to face. I don't know if you saw my first one was I did it over Zoom. I sat on that for 3 weeks because I'm like, I didn't build this trailer to do a podcast anybody could do. I built it so I can have that face to face, so I can meet with people, have a conversation, because that I enjoy it. And I don't have an employees or anything, so I don't get out much. So I'm like, this for me serves multiple purposes. It gets me out, it gets me interacting with people and shooting the shit, right? And then it also allows me to get my face and voice out there for my business, right? Yeah. To me, it's a new way of marketing.
Yeah.
And so
and the luxury of here is you go to them.
You
don't have to organize them coming into a studio.
No.
Just go right to them, and everybody gets in the trailer and you do it.
Yeah, I was like, the question was, how can I simplify it for my guests so I can get as many guests as possible? And let me take the no's out of the equation, And one of them was, okay, have them come to me, and a lot of people were like, I don't have time. Okay, let me take time out of the equation. I'll come to you. I'll pull up right in your front of your office.
All you got to do is walk outside.
Yep. All you got to do is walk outside. We'll jump in here. How much time do you have? Okay, cool. We'll set it for that long and we'll get through it in that time.
Yeah.
And so, but just the way things are shifting with real estate, I think real estate's going to take I don't know how big of a downturn, but I think we're going to see a hit over the next few years. I think it's going to take a while to play out. I don't think we're going to see a crash.
No.
And I stick to my guns by telling people you don't buy a house to speculate on the price.
No.
If you want to buy a house, you buy it for certain reasons. You buy it because you want to be in that school district. You buy it because you want to be in control of the property, meaning you want to customize it. You want to paint it the way you want to paint it. And then you buy it based on the monthly rents. Can you afford it? Make sure you're not over leveraged, because I was mortgage poor. Like I couldn't go out because my whole paycheck, the $3,200, was going to my mortgage every month.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and if you're leverage overstretched, like, don't buy it. Don't put yourself in that position hoping you're going to make more money.
Yeah.
And so, and if all of those check, we're good, then I'm like, yeah, buy right now. But if anybody's like, I'm going to speculate hoping it goes up. No, I'm going to speculate hoping my pay goes up. No, like
absolutely not.
I'm like telling them, and it's funny. I'll watch real estate, people do videos right now where they'll go, is it a good time to buy right now? And then they immediately go, yeah, it's a great time to buy. And I'm like, what a freaking typical answer from
every time's a great time to buy. The window's getting smaller.
Yeah.
I'm real small. Like, it doesn't exist anymore.
And I'm like, how can someone sleep at night like saying that?
Yeah.
And maybe they believe it. I don't know. And, there's no one in particular.
It's a self-fulfilling deal.
Well, it's I want the commission.
Yeah.
It's a great time for you to buy, because if you buy, I get a commission and I can put food on my table. So
I can get through this mess we're in right now.
Yeah. And I remember one of the first deals I did, not one of the first, it was probably like the third or fourth deals I did. Was completely broke, had no money. I was waiting on, because I'd quit my job, and I had no money coming in, and I was counting on this deal to close. And at the time, my brother-in-law was, he had a brain tumor, and so he was in the hospital with brain surgery. So we're going to San Francisco like every day to see him. And I had this client, we're in contract, and the house that she had wanted was right across the street from her sister's house. And it was a short sale, and they didn't accept our offer. And so she's like, all right, I'll buy this other one, which was around the corner. And so she bought she got into contract with the one around the corner. Well, we're 21 days into this, and the agent's like, remove contingencies. And I don't know why I didn't remove all my contingencies, but my gut was like, nah, just like hold out, And I was like, well, we're trying to figure some stuff out, and maybe I was just new or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, 21 days into it, that other agent with the house across the street, which was a much better house at the same price, had a guest house on it for the same price as this other house. She calls me up and she goes, hey, Matt, the buyers just fell out. Does your client still want this property? And I'm going, oh my freaking goodness. In my head, I'm like, yes, she wants the property. But then I had to go like,
You had to kick the other one.
we had to kick the other one, but more so was like, I wouldn't get paid in 8 days.
Yeah.
Right. I'm counting on this money. This is a short sale. This could still take another 3 months for this one to close.
Yep.
And so, I was like, how for sure is it? She's like, it's yours if you guys want it. I'm like, yeah, she wants it. I said, let me call her, but yeah, she wants it. And so I called her up. I'm like, hey, that house just came on the market. Do you want? Yes, I want it. I absolutely want it, Perfect. Called the agent, got into contract.
Mm-hmm.
Probably shouldn't be doing this as an agent, but got into contract on that other property, and then had to call and cancel that other one. That was one of the toughest. It wasn't even tough. It was just like, damn, and that taught me not to ever count on any transaction.
Yeah.
And if I do good or do right, that things just come.
Yeah. And doing right is the fundamental thing there. Because how would you have felt if she bought the first house and then the second one come up and then she found out you knew? She's like, Matt, why'd you not get me this other house a better deal? How'd you not get me into that? And then you're like, then you got to sit there and carry that like, oh, fuck, I wanted a payday. Yeah. And I'm not talking about a goddamn candy bar either. Yeah. I had to have the money. And it's, there is a lot of peace of mind in doing the right shit.
There really is.
So I've carried that through me with real estate and going in this time telling buyers right now, like, patience is a virtue right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know how things, but I just put 3 houses on the market.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm amazed at how many people are showing the houses right now. I'm like, okay, well, maybe it isn't going down. Yeah. I'm like, well, maybe I'm wrong.
There's always going to be buyers no matter what the market is. Yeah. There's always going to be people like, I don't give a shit. I just want the house. Yeah. And you got a couple badass houses on the market right now. Yeah. There's one of those things is kick ass.
Yeah. I don't know.
Is it
yes.
With the pool?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a nice
that
property.
thing is sweet. Mm-hmm. Fuck.
Yeah.
Really sweet.
And so I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I just read my gut, and it's like,
all you can do.
It's like, I don't know, but looking at this whole situation going, man, where's the opportunity? And for me, I'm like, well, I built this podcast trailer out. Couldn't it be a better opportunity? Let's talk to some people.
Yeah.
Let's hear their story about what they're going through right now.
Yeah.
Yep. And there's a lot of people that are doing this right now. It's like Mike and I,
you guys are kicking out.
We just started doing it. It's like, we don't have anything to do. It's like, and Mike's like, what do you think about just doing a podcast? I'm like, oh, on what? He goes, Napa Valley Real Estate. I'm like, shit, we're not doing anything else. Yeah, let's do it.
We're killing it.
Yeah, we're coming in here. We're taking care of stuff that needs to be taken care of. But, it's like I'm just riding my motorcycle in every day because there's no traffic. And we're getting stuff done. And, yeah, let's just do it.
And you guys are how many episodes now?
Like almost 40.
And how would someone want to, if they wanted to find that, where's that?
Just go to YouTube. Mike's got a YouTube channel, Mike Bolin. Just go to Mike Bolin. Mike and I were talking the other day. And Mike's like, "What? You should start doing some tow truck stuff." And I had I picked up this consulting deal like 2 months ago, a legal case, and it was pretty bad. Someone died, and Mike's like, why don't you start like a tow truck YouTube channel? I'm like, dude, I've been thinking about that for a long time, but it's like, it's like $100,000 for a tow truck, and it's a lot of fucking time. And I'm sitting there thinking, it's like, fuck, I could just bought a used truck, and when this thing started, I could have like 40 episodes done. Yeah. So now it's like, I was on the phone yesterday trying to work out a deal with a guy I used to buy wreckers from back in St. Louis. Like, hey, why don't you want to put a couple tow trucks out here in California? I'll get them sold for you, but I just need to use them. So he's like, let me think about that. Okay. He's like, seriously, let me think about that. So, it's what Mike and I have been saying is there's going to be a ton of opportunity in this, and the people who are going to see it are going to be the ones that have their eyes open, and I could do this tow truck thing and just do it for sport, do it for hobby. I mean, I don't give a shit. I mean, I could be out riding my motorcycle. I could do all kinds of stuff, but I mean, this stuff is fun. I mean, I like talking to people, and I mean, Mike knows a shitload about real estate. I like being a clown all the time, so I get to be a clown on that thing every now and again. But we have fun talking about real estate. Yep. We do an investor deal like every once a week. Get to talk about flips and stuff, and that's what I really like. I like those, but there's people that decided to sit home and watch Netflix, and there's people that decided to build a trailer.
Yeah, it's exciting.
And do a podcast. It's exciting. So, it's this. There's all kinds of opportunity here. And for the people who sat on their ass and didn't do anything, they didn't get anything out of it. For the people like, oh, you know what? The world stopped. I'm going to go pursue something I want to pursue right now. Yes. And Matt Cole got to build this trailer and get this going. And Mike and I are in there doing that. And
it's a great thing.
Everyone else is hunkered down with their masks on at home. And like, oh.
And I tell people,
the Wu-Tang flu is going to get me.
I tell people all the time, I go, man, if I would have known what I know now in 2010, 11, I would have begged, robbed, stole to buy as many real deals as possible.
Yeah.
Because it was like, you couldn't mess.
I'd have been buying every condo and lighthouse down there on the water in that condo complex for $10,000, where they're selling for. And then, I mean, shit, right now they're asking $200 for them on the downstroke.
Yeah. And so I'm going, where's the opportunity right now? Because there will be opportunities like that. It may not be in real estate, but there's going to be opportunities. It may be in, like we said, you launching a podcast, launching a YouTube channel, launching, you know, the digital era is like just got kick-started because of Zoom, and we're just talking about people working remotely. And
creative folks are going to see it.
yes.
That's who's going to see it, is creative folks.
Yes.
Because it's the straightforward stuff everyone's going to be on.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's like flipping houses when the market's coming up. Everybody's flipping a house.
Everybody.
Yeah. So, you know, then you get all this competition, and then all you do is you run up the buy cost on it. Because you're competing against everyone else, and then you're competing against the folks in the city who are watching the shit on TV, watching HGTV. Let's flip a house in Napa and all this other crap. It's the very creative folks are going to see the stuff that others don't see, and that's how it always is.
Yes.
And you know, when opportunities like this, you know, I mean,
so we'll have to figure it out.
who knows? So anyway, Mike's wanting to record in there, so we're gonna have to cut this baby off. But
Hell yeah,
we got to talk about motorcycles.
Well, we'll be back again.
Okay. Cool.
Chris, thank you. Where can people find you? Napa Valley Chris on YouTube or Instagram?
If they're pretty girls, they can find me on my telephone.
Right on, brother.
No, on the Facebook, Napa Valley Chris, on Instagram at Napa Valley Chris, or on my personal profile, just Christopher Young.
Perfect. I'll put links down below.
That's the only place I am right now, baby.
Right on. Thanks for sharing your story, man.
Yeah, it's not that good of a story, but it's a story.
I love it.
Cool.
Right on, bro. Thank you.
Excellent.